Chapter 2235. Although she wasn't the kind of woman with strong desires, she was still a normal woman. Occasionally, it was necessary to have a couple's life to adjust the relationship between husband and wife. If Mu Lianfeng's thing was really damaged, what would happen to her happiness for the rest of her life? Mu Lianfeng was obviously dumbfounded. He looked down at his lower body in a daze and mumbled, "This? What the hell is going on? The sparks are jumping out. Sigh, if I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have let you do this. This is too risky. What if something happens?" Zhao Yun muttered. She looked uncertainly at the place where Mu Lianfeng's clothes were burned. She almost reached out to touch it. "Mu Lianfeng, feel it yourself. Does it hurt? Did you get burned?" Zhao Yun asked worriedly. Mu Lianfeng shook his head. "It doesn't hurt. I didn't burn my body. It's just that my clothes are burned." Zhao Yun patted her chest. That's good. Mu Lianfeng, don't help me light the fire. What if you get burned again? The sparks like to jump around." Mu Lianfeng was also a little shaken. He wanted to persist, but how could he persist in his current embarrassed state? "I'll go change my clothes. Can you handle it alone?" "Of course I can. Go quickly. Change your clothes and put them on the bed. I'll make up for it after dinner." But Mu Lianfeng nodded helplessly. He looked at his lower body in embarrassment and then rushed out of the kitchen. Because the place burned by the sparks was too embarrassing, Mu Lianfeng was afraid that others would see it. He quickened his pace and rushed into the room. Zhao Yun quickly prepared the meal. The family sat together and ate happily. Because the day of Zhao Tianan's wedding was getting closer and closer, everyone in the third branch was immersed in a kind of joy. After 2 months, Feng Zhangxia's belly had begun to show. In a few more months, the little brother or sister in her belly would be born. After lunch, everyone went back to their rooms to rest for a while. Zhao Yun remembered that Mu Lianfeng's clothes still needed to be mended, so she took out a needle and thread. Mu Lianfeng's brocade robe was made of high-quality material. It was a pity that there were so many big holes. Although she could still wear it after mending it, it was still better not to have it broken. Zhao Yun felt some regret in her heart, but Mu Lianfeng did not show any signs of distress. Zhao Yun sighed slightly. A big shot was a big shot. She had seen a lot of good things since she was young. Naturally, she didn't care about this little thing. Mu Lianfeng's bedding pants were also burned with a big hole, right at the place where his genitals were. Zhao Yun took Mu Lianfeng's bedding pants and mended it. As she sewed, she felt that something was wrong, so she glanced at Mu Lianfeng's lower part. However, this time, Mu Lianfeng was wearing clothes, so she didn't see anything. Seeing Zhao Yun's strange reaction, Mu Lianfeng couldn't help but ask, "Yuna, what are you looking at?" Zhao Yun thought about it and said what was in her heart. Mu Lianfeng, "Look at the big hole in your bedding pants. It's been burned to this extent. Is your lower part really okay? Is it really not burned? There's no reason. It's impossible that the bedding pants have such a big hole, but that thing is still intact, right?" Chapter 2236. Mu Lianfeng smiled bitterly and met Zhao Yun's curious eyes. Then he said to Zhao Yun, "Yuna, I'm really fine. Don't worry about me." When Mu Lianfeng said this, Zhao Yun couldn't help but wonder if there was something wrong with this guy. He was afraid that she would be worried, so he deliberately hid it from her. "Mu Lianfeng, are you really okay? If you have something wrong, you have to say it in time. It's not too late to ask Dr. Sun to come over now. If you delay and miss the best time for treatment, it might really be serious." Mu Lianfeng saw that Zhao Yun said with a serious face, as if something really happened to him. He smiled helplessly at Zhao Yun. "Yun, I'm really fine. If you don't believe me, how about this? You can touch it or take a look. Then you'll know if I'm lying." Zhao Yun's face suddenly turned red. Why did it feel like Mu Lianfeng was teasing her? Let her look at his lower body or touch his lower body? How could that be? She just didn't dare to think about it. "I don't want to look or touch, pervert." Zhao Yun scolded in a low voice. Mu Lianfeng saw that Zhao Yun's face was red, so he couldn't continue to joke. "Yun, I just want you to believe that I'm really fine. That's the only way. Otherwise, let's try it tonight. Then, you'll know if there's anything wrong with my lower body. Mu Lianfeng whispered in Zhao Yun'er's ear. The breath he exhaled had a flirtatious smell, which tickled Zhao Yun'er's ear. Only then did Zhao Yun'er believe that Mu Lianfeng was really fine. The atmosphere between the two of them warmed up a little. She quickly moved her butt to the side, keeping a safe distance from Mu Lianfeng. After all, it was broad daylight now. It wouldn't be good if they got into a fight and did that kind of thing. Zhao Yun'er lowered her head and sewed Mu Lianfeng's clothes, while Mu Lianfeng looked at Zhao Yun'er dotingly. For Mu Lianfeng, this kind of life was a kind of happiness. But when he thought that he might leave soon, Mu Lianfeng was even more reluctant to part with Zhao Yun'er. After telling this matter, he didn't tell Zhao Yun'er, "I have something to discuss with you. I have something to discuss with you." "What's the matter?" "There's a riot at the border. His Majesty might send me to station troops there to resolve the unrest there. Although I don't know when they will set off, the person who will be sent should be me." After hearing Mu Lianfeng's words, Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but stop what she was doing. Border? Wasn't that a very far place? How long would Mu Lianfeng be gone? When would he come back? It wasn't easy for the family to spend some happy days together. Was Mu Lianfeng leaving so soon? Seeing that Zhao Yun'er didn't say anything and lowered her head, Mu Lianfeng knew that Zhao Yun'er didn't want him to leave. Yun'er, you know that His Majesty doesn't have many officials who can be put in important positions. Otherwise, how could this kind of thing fall on my head? If I had a choice, I definitely wouldn't go. I just want to protect you and Daodu. I want to protect our family and live together. Mu Lianfeng's tone was full of helplessness. It was like this in this era. Even if Mu Lianfeng had a noble status as an official, he would still be restrained. Could he not listen to His Majesty's orders? Obviously not. Chapter 2237. This was the helplessness of this era, forcing them to do things they didn't want to do. Compared to everything they were enjoying now, it was normal for them to have more responsibilities. Compared to the commoners who didn't have enough to eat, those people would probably do their best to listen to the emperor's arrangements if they were given the chance to live a carefree life. Since that's the case, you have no choice but to do it. Zhao Yun'er said to Mu Lianfeng without a trace of blame in her tone. Mu Lianfeng was very touched. He thought that Zhao Yun'er would blame him, or at least make a scene to express her dissatisfaction. He didn't expect Zhao Yun'er's reaction to be so normal. She could completely understand him. Thank you." Mu Lianfeng held Zhao Yun'er's hand and said emotionally. Zhao Yun'er smiled. "What are you thanking me for? Did you think that I would be unhappy and stop you from going? Am I such an unreasonable person?" "No, you're the best girl." Mu Lianfeng grinned. Actually, Daodu and I have nothing to do at home. It's pretty good at home. You can eat whatever you want, and we can take care of each other as a family. But you're going to the frontier fortress alone. What are you going to do on such a long journey? Can you take care of yourself by yourself?" "Yun'er, I can do it. Don't worry about me." Seeing that Zhao Yun'er was worried about him, Mu Lianfeng's heart felt warm. "Come back early after you finish the mission. Don't delay, okay?" Yes, of course." After he finished the mission, he would definitely be anxious to return early and wouldn't be delayed on the road. Just as the two of them were talking, there was a commotion outside. It seemed to be the sound of an argument. Zhao Yun'er frowned. Usually, no one would come here. Who was it that came to the door? Mu Lianfeng stood up. "Yun'er, I'll go take a look." Zhao Yun'er also stood up and said, "I'll go take a look too. Let's go together." With that, Zhao Yun'er put down the needlework in her hands. When the two of them left the house and went to the courtyard, they found that it was the Mu family. Leading the group was Old Lady Mu, followed by Mu Lan's father, Mu Dade, and Mu Lan's stepmother, Luo Tsuyu. Old Lady Mu's saliva flew everywhere as she shouted, "My granddaughter is married, so what's wrong with me asking for money?" He had raised such a daughter for nothing. He couldn't possibly let her marry someone else for nothing, right? No matter what, you have to send some money as a gift. Otherwise, our Mu family will not agree to this marriage. Mu Lan stood in front of Old Lady Mu. She frowned and said to Old Lady Mu with a displeased expression, "Grandmother, what are you doing? How could they be so shameless and still have the nerve to come over and ask for money? Back then, I almost sold Xianxia, and it was I who used money to redeem her from you. Now that she's married, even though I was the one who arranged the wedding, it should be me who receives the money as a gift. When did it become your turn to come here? Hurry up and leave. Don't make a fuss here. As Mulan spoke, she was somewhat displeased as she chased them away. Zhao Yuner listened for a while and understood what was going on. The Mu family had probably heard the news that Mu Hin was going to marry over, so they came over, hoping that their Zhao family would give them some money as a gift. It was normal for families to give money as a gift when they were getting married. If Mu Hin had not experienced those things back then, their Zhao family would definitely give some money when Zhao Tianen married Mu Hin. Chapter 2238. Now, Mu Hin's only family members were Mulan and her family. Giving Mulan money as a gift was enough. As for giving it to the Zhao family, it was purely a waste. Why should they benefit from a family that would even sell their daughter for money? In addition, Mulan had indeed spent money to save Mu Hin, so she had severed ties with the Mu family. No matter what, the Mu family had not been kind enough to ask for money this time. Mulan, what are you talking about, you little b***tch? No matter what, I'm your grandmother and your father is still around. You two girls are your parents' children. Now that Mu Hin is getting married, her family won't get a single cent as a gift. Does this count? Anyway, I don't care. If their family doesn't take out the money today, they can forget about the wedding. I'll say it here. Don't give them a chance. Don't blame us when they screw up the wedding. Old Lady Mu put her hands on her hips and continued to spit out as she spoke righteously. Mulan was so angry that her chest hurt from Old Lady Mu's anger. She had seen shameless people, but she had never seen such shameless people. When she thought about how these shameless people had given birth to her and raised her, Mulan felt that she could not accept it. Dade, what are you standing there for? Don't you know how to speak? Hurry up and say a few words to your daughter. Old Lady Mu commanded Mudade. Only then did Mudade step forward a little embarrassedly. However, unlike Old Lady Mu, he negotiated with Mulan nicely. Lan, your grandmother's words are not without reason. Marriage is decided by the elders. You and Xianxia are both my children. Now that she's married, no matter what, she can't cast me aside as her father, right? At least give some money as a token of appreciation. Lan, you don't know that our family's life is not easy now. I heard that Xianxia's future in-laws are very rich. Just look at how big their house is and you can tell that their family is definitely not lacking in money. Since that's the case, there's no harm in letting them take out some betrothal gifts. Since he's rich, he can't be unwilling to part with such a small amount of money, right? Luo Zueyu, who was standing beside Mudade, chimed in, That's right. The money here must be given to the maternal family. In my opinion, the in-laws are so rich. The 20 taels that mother asked them to give seems to be too little. In my opinion, it should be at least 50 taels. Old Lady Mu coughed lightly. Of course, the more the better. Who dislikes you for giving too much? Mulan's face darkened when she heard the Mu family's words. Just how thick-skinned were these people? Instead of saying that they were here to ask for gifts, it was better to say that they were here to rob. For a normal family, a few taels of silver would be enough as a betrothal gift for their daughter. How could they ask for so much money? Mulan couldn't control herself and directly scolded. 50 taels? Why don't you go and rob them? They would probably be able to snatch it faster. Although the Zhao family was rich, there was no need for them to reject their own money, right? Giving it to you for free? Dream on. Not to mention 20 taels, even 50 taels, don't expect to get a single cent today. Bah! Each and every one of you is shameless. What did you do in the past? You actually have the nerve to come here today. I think you didn't learn your lesson last time. Do you want to come here again today? Faced with Mulan's threat, the Mu family was naturally afraid. But they couldn't bear to part with so much money. Chapter 2239. It's right and proper to ask for money when marrying off a daughter. How are we robbing? Mulan, It's not like I'm asking you for money. Why are you calling me in such a hurry? Now, we just want to ask the Zhao family, do they still miss our daughter? If they don't give us money, we'll take Mu Hin back and not marry off. Old Lady Mu raised her chin in an overbearing manner. Mu Lan spat on the ground. Bah, I'll see if you're done. I spent that money and you chased Xia and Xian away. It has nothing to do with you. To be honest, the Zhao family has already given me money. If you have the ability, you can take it back from me. Old Lady Mu pointed at Mu Lan angrily. Who would have thought that Mu Lan, who was originally very gentle, would become like a shrew and not listen to reason at all? Dade, look at the good daughter you've raised. How did she turn out like this? Mu Dade frowned and then discussed with Mu Lan. Lan, you're just an older sister. It's against the rules to give you money as a gift. Quickly take it out and let us take it back. We won't fuss over your rude behavior to your grandmother today. Mu Lan sneered. It sounded as if he was afraid that they would fuss over it. Father, how is it against the rules? From the day you plan to sell Xia and Xian, you're no longer worthy of being her father. Since she's already left the Mu family and lived with me for so long, she's naturally cut off all ties with the Mu family. I gave you money back then and now I'm only taking it as repayment. I still have to buy some dowry for Xia and Xian. You want to take it back? Fine, they gave you 10 taels as a gift. But Xia and Xian's dowry must be at least 8 taels. There's still 2 taels left. I'll give you 2 taels. But I gave you 5 taels back then. You have to return the 5 taels I gave you, right? After Mu Lan's careful calculation, not only did the Mu family not get any benefits, but they also had to fork out 3 taels of silver to give to Mu Lan. How could they be willing? Old Madame Lin was in disbelief. The Zhao family is so rich, but they only gave him 10 taels? I say, Mu Lan girl, do you think I'm an old fool who's trying to scare me? Mu Lan smirked. So what if he's rich? Was 10 taels of silver too little? Grandma, I would like to ask, how many of my cousins received 10 taels of silver as a gift when they got married? I don't think so, right? At most, it would be 6 taels. Our family seems to have added 2 taels of dowry. In the entire village, there aren't many families who would give their daughters 10 taels of silver as a gift. Therefore, the Zhao family has already given Xianxia 10 taels of silver as a gift. What's there to be picky about? Old Lady Mu's back was turned and she was speechless for a moment. Luo Tsueyu watched from the side and sighed inwardly. This girl's eloquence was amazing. Normal people really couldn't win against her. Anyway, 10 taels of silver is too little. We came all the way here today, so we have to take out some money as a token of appreciation, right? I don't want 50 taels, but 10 or 20 taels must be given. Otherwise, don't blame us for causing trouble on Mu Hin's wedding day. For such a joyous day like a wedding, it would indeed affect the mood if something were to happen. It wouldn't be good if something that was supposed to be joyous became unhappy. Chapter 2240. Zhao Yun frowned, thinking about how to deal with this kind of scoundrel. Mu Lan and Mu Hin had such a family, it was really troublesome. Zhao Yun was very clear that if she satisfied the Mu family's request now, she would really give them 10 taels of silver as a wedding gift in order to keep the peace. If the Mu family became pampered and spoiled, they might come to the third branch to make a fuss and ask for money when they were short of money. So there were some things that one could not take the first step. Once one took the first step, one would lose. When the time comes, I'm afraid that you won't have the life to make a fuss. Zhao Yun's cold voice sounded. She had a smile on her face, but it was so cold that it made people tremble with fear. The Mu family looked at Zhao Yun, not understanding the meaning of Zhao Yun's words. You? What are you going to do? Are you trying to scare us? Old Lady Mu asked angrily. Zhao Yun shook her head. I'm not going to do anything, but once you do, you will definitely not have a good ending. When the time comes, I will make the wedding go smoothly, and no one will be able to ruin it. The Mu family did not understand Zhao Yun's words, but they still shouted arrogantly. If you don't give us the money now, we will make a fuss when the time comes. We will bring Xianxia home and see how you are going to make the wedding go smoothly. Zhao Yun smiled. Since you know that the Zhao family is rich, do you know why we are rich? Because we have connections with the officials. Look, this is the current heir apparent. With him around, when the time comes, he will send some people to arrest you if you make a fuss. Zhao Yun said and pointed at Mu Lianfeng. Mu Lianfeng could not help but want to laugh. Yun was smarter than before. She knew how to use his identity to intimidate people. Sure enough, the Mu family was stunned and seemed a little scared. Looking at Mu Lianfeng's dressing and temperament, he did not seem like an ordinary person. Saying that he was the heir of the crown prince, Luo Zueyu muttered, "He's the heir apparent? Are we supposed to believe whatever you say? Who can prove it? Why don't you go and ask around? Everyone in our village knows." Old Lady Mu was afraid, but at the same time, her heart was filled with unwillingness. What's wrong with the heir? Why should he be in charge of our daughter's gift money? Isn't that unreasonable? Zhao Yun smiled again. I forgot to tell you that our county's deputy district magistrate will also come. If you make trouble, you can make things clear in front of the deputy district magistrate. I'd like to ask the county magistrate if there's anyone like you who would sell off their daughter and wait for her to get married before asking for money as a gift. The arrogance of the members of the Mu family was reduced a little when they heard the name of the deputy magistrate. The deputy county magistrate was in charge of these trivial matters. Yang City forbade human trafficking in the open. Usually, such transactions were done in secret. Those who were caught would be punished. When they sold Mu Hin and complained to the deputy district magistrate, how could they get away with it? Why did the Zhao family have so many fans? Not only did they have connections with the current Shizi, but they also had connections with the people of the county deputy. They were definitely not ordinary farmers. Luo Zueyu came to old Lady Mu and asked her weakly, "Mother, do you think what this girl said is true? Will the deputy district magistrate come here? How can she be so influential?" Chapter 2241. Mother, what if they're just trying to trick us? Are we just going to forget about the gift money? We spent a lot of effort to come here today. We can't go back empty-handed, right? Luo Zueyu was unwilling to give up. The Mu family was so poor that they couldn't live on. If she could get some money back, she could at least improve her life and ask the Mu family to buy more meat for her. After not eating meat for a few days, she felt terrible. She always felt uncomfortable and unhappy. But what if they're telling the truth? Are we going to give up our lives for money? What if we're thrown into jail by the county magistrate? That's equivalent to losing our lives. My dad doesn't even have a son. How can we let him get into trouble? Old Lady Mu voiced out her worries. No matter what, life was more important than anything else. Seeing Zhao Yun's serious expression, it didn't seem like she was lying. Mu Dade was a timid person. He tugged at Old Lady Mu's sleeve and said, "Mother, why don't we just let it go? We don't have to sacrifice ourselves for a bit of money. They have the support of the heir presumptive and the county magistrate. How can we fight them? Aren't we just asking for trouble?" Old Lady Mu glanced at Mu Dade and saw through his thoughts. She scolded him softly, "Useless thing, how did I give birth to such a timid son?" Although she was also worried, she wasn't as nervous as Mu Dade. Mu Dade lowered his head and accepted the scolding. He didn't dare to talk back to Old Lady Mu. He was just expressing his thoughts. Why was he being scolded again for no reason? "Mother, what do we do now?" Luo Zueyu frowned and asked. "Wait a minute, let me think." Seeing that Old Lady Mu wanted to cause trouble again, Mu Lan couldn't stand it anymore and warned her, "Grandmother, don't think that they're bluffing. They're telling the truth. Don't let yourself suffer when you don't get any benefits. There's a good saying that citizens don't fight with officials. Unless you don't want your life, you can try and see who will suffer in the end." Zhao Yun also smiled and said to the Mu family, "Today, I'm not giving you a single cent. Hurry up and get lost. If you're not satisfied, you can come and make trouble on that day." The Mu family was unwilling to leave just like that. When they met Zhao Yun's cold eyes, they wanted to retreat. At this moment, Xiao He came out of the house at the right time and jumped in front of Zhao Yun. Then he bared his fangs and barked at the Mu family. Originally, the Mu family didn't want to leave, but when they saw Blackies to leave. Old Lady Mu scolded Mulan. You damned girl, hurry up and help us drive this damn dog away. Mulan sneered. Grandmother, how can I help you? It's not my dog. Besides, dogs can't be reasoned with. After all, they can't understand human language. I can't help you even if I want to. Old Lady Mu's face darkened. On one hand, she was angry with Mulan. On the other hand, she was afraid of Little Blackie. Luo Tsueyu saw how fierce Little Blackie was and quickly hid behind Mu Dade. Even if Little Blackie rushed over to bite, it would bite Mu Dade first and not her. Mu Dade was so scared that his legs trembled. He said to Old Lady Mu in a trembling voice, Mother, let's hurry up and leave. It's not worth it to be bitten by a dog. You only have so little guts. Chapter 2242. Old Lady Mu ran away in fright. This damn dog really bit her. Normally, a dog's bark was just to scare people. She had met many dogs at her age, but she did not expect Zhao Yun's dog to really bite people. Fortunately, Old Lady Mu ran quickly, or else Little Black would have bitten her leg. At this moment, Little Black was biting Old Lady Mu's pant leg. Old Lady Mu was so frightened that she quickly retracted her leg, but Little Black still refused to let go. Old Lady Mu was so frightened that she hurriedly called out to Mu Dade, Dade, hurry, hurry and save Mother. Chase this damn dog away. Mu Dade laughed even harder. His legs trembled as he said to Old Lady Mu from afar, Mother, I want to save you, but I don't dare to. I'm scared of dogs. As Mu Dade spoke, he pushed Luo Tsueyu aside and said, Wife, hurry and save Mother. I'm scared. Luo Tsueyu glared at Mu Dade fiercely and scolded him, Mu Dade, you heartless thing. You're scared, but I'm not? I'm your wife, how dare you push me away? Is your mother more important than me? I've slept with you for so many days, and I even want to give birth to your son. If anything happens to me, do you expect your mother to sleep with you at her age and give birth to your son? Luo Tsueyu was anxious, so she spoke shamelessly. Everyone who heard her secretly shook their heads. Zhao Yun felt that the saying, birds of a feather flock together, was accurate. Even if the Mu family's weirdos married another wife, it would be a stupid woman like Luo Tsueyu. Mu Dade was speechless. He looked at Old Lady Mu and then at Luo Tsueyu, his face conflicted. To him, his mother was very important, but his wife was also important. Just as Luo Tsueyu said, if he lost his wife, who would sleep with him and give birth to his son? Sigh. Mu Dade sighed heavily. He could only blame himself for being useless. He was afraid of everything and could not protect his mother or his wife. You two useless, heartless things. Old Lady Mu gloomily glared at Mu Dade and Luo Tsueyu. Old Lady Mu could only kick her legs and continue to pull from Xiaohei's mouth. Blackie whimpered a few times and suddenly let go of Old Lady Mu. Old Lady Mu used too much strength and lost her balance, falling directly to the ground. The moment Old Lady Mu fell to the ground, she let out a miserable cry. She was already old and couldn't stand the torment. After such a heavy fall, he felt that his legs were about to break. Especially the area around her pelvis, it felt as if it had cracked. It was so painful that she grimaced and broke out in cold sweat. Old Lady Mu waved at Mu Dade and said, Quick, come here and pull me up. All right. Mu Dade responded. Just as he was about to help the old lady up, Xiaohei turned around and bared his fangs at Luo Tsueyu. Luo Tsueyu's heart suddenly tightened. She was so frightened that she wanted to run away, but Xiaohei had already caught up and bit Luo Tsueyu's but without hesitation. Luo Tsueyu screamed even more miserably than Old Lady Mu. Xiaohei's bite almost bit off a piece of flesh from her butt. Seeing Xiaohei's awe-inspiring manner of teaching a weirdo a lesson, Zhao Yun felt great. Compared to moving his mouth, it seemed that Little Black's way of directly biting people was more satisfying and also more frightening. Chapter 2243. Dade, save me. Hurry and help me get this damn dog away. I'm going to die from the pain. Luo Tsueyu instructed Mu Dade. Old Lady Mu stopped Mu Dade and said, Brat, I'm your mother. Help me up first. My bones are going to break at this age. Dade, if you don't save me, I'm going to be bitten to death by this damn dog. Let's see where you can find a wife later. Luo Tsueyu shouted. Mu Dade was conflicted for a while. He felt that his wife was the most important. So he rushed towards Luo Tsueyu. Although he was a little timid, he was using his last bit of courage to chase Little Black away for his wife. Old Lady Mu suddenly understood. So this was how her son, whom she had raised painstakingly, treated her. He was so smitten by a woman that he didn't even care about his own mother. Why did she still worry about him every day? Now she only felt her heart turn cold. It was an indescribable pain. Zhao Yun was afraid that someone would die. She raised her voice and said, "Are you going to scram now? If you scram, I'll let you go. If you don't, I'll let you go and continue biting." The Mu family members were so frightened that they replied without hesitation, "Scram, scram, we'll scram now." Seeing that the Mu family members were obedient, Zhao Yun waved at Little Black. "All right, Little Black, stop biting. That's enough." When Little Black heard Zhao Yun's call, he wagged his tail and ran towards Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun had a faint smile on her face. It was indeed a dog with intelligence. No matter how fierce Little Black was to others, he was just a cute dog in front of her. At this moment, the Mu family members didn't know how Zhao Yun felt. If they knew that Zhao Yun praised Little Black for being cute, they would definitely refute. How was this dog cute? It was clearly a dead dog, a vicious dog. They had never seen a dog so fierce that it would bite anyone it saw. Now that Little Black was so fierce, they didn't dare to continue causing trouble. Even though they were unwilling, they could only choose to leave. Old Lady Mu and Luo Tsueyu were both seriously injured. They couldn't walk and relied on Mu Dade alone. Seeing that Mu Dade was more concerned about Luo Tsueyu, Old Lady Mu felt uncomfortable. She pointed at Mu Dade and scolded, "You heartless thing. I gave birth to you, raised you, and took care of you for so long. Do you only remember this stinky woman who just got married? You don't even care about your own mother?" Mu Dade's face revealed a trace of embarrassment. "Mother, how could that be? It's just that you can sit on the ground for a while, but Cui Yu is being chased by that dog. If I don't help her, won't I be bitten to death?" Old Lady Mu was still glaring at Mu Dade with a pair of gloomy eyes. All right, don't talk about this with me. Why didn't you come to help me when I was being chased by that dog? You've forgotten your mother after marrying a wife. You don't have a conscience." Mu Lan watched the scene from the side and laughed in her heart. Old Lady Mu deserved it. Her father was even willing to sell his own daughter. What was his own mother to him? Rather than caring about Luo Tsueyu, he cared more about his son. After all, Luo Tsueyu could only give birth to a son for him. Otherwise, where would his son come from? Good karma was a cycle of reincarnation. Now that it was Old Lady Mu's turn, it really made people secretly happy. "Mother." Mu Dade was not good with words. He didn't know how to defend himself now. Chapter 2244. Thinking about the 2 times she came to Shui Lan village, she was only looking for trouble for herself. Old Lady Mu felt aggrieved. Last time, her head was broken by Mu Lan and she still had headaches from time to time. This time, she almost broke her bones because of a dog. If she wasn't lucky, she might have been bedridden for the rest of her life. Mu Dade spent a lot of effort to pull Old Lady Mu up from the ground. "Mother, are you okay?" Mu Dade asked with concern. Old Lady Mu snorted. "Okay? How can I be okay? When you reach my age, you can try to fall and see if you can break all your bones." "Mother, can you walk? It's such a long way. How can we go back?" Mu Dade started to worry. Old Lady Mu frowned. The 2 villages were separated by quite a distance. If they walked back normally, it would just be a little tiring. But now that she had fallen, she was afraid that her body would hurt badly if she walked a few steps. She couldn't stay in Shui Lan village even if she didn't walk. She had to go back. "Help me walk slowly. If you can't walk, then rest. We'll walk back eventually," Old Lady Mu said after thinking for a while. Mu Dade was in a difficult position. Tsueyu's butt and thigh were bitten by a dog. She can't walk. I have to carry her back and support you. How can I do that? How can I carry both of you? Old Lady Mu glanced at Luo Zuiyu. This damned woman let his son carry her. Wouldn't she crush his son? Dade, what are you talking about? Even without me, your woman is so heavy. Can you carry her? How long can you walk with her on your back? Mu Dade looked troubled as he nodded and replied, Mother, I know, but what can I do? Zuiyu really can't walk. We can't just leave her here, right? Old Lady Mu spat. That woman is so pretentious. She has so much meat on her body. So what if she's bitten? How can she not be able to walk? I can walk away now. At most, we can just bear with it. Anyway, you can't carry it. Don't break your bones when the time comes. If that happens, none of us will have a good time. Luo Zuiyu said to Old Lady Mu with a bitter face, Mother, I'm not pretentious. I really can't walk. Why don't you think of a way? It's impossible for us to walk back. Zhao Yun looked at the three people who couldn't leave because they couldn't stay in his house. She was really bored. He then said to the three of them, If you want to leave, there are many ways. Our village has an ox cart. It costs 30 copper coins per trip. At most, you can rent an ox cart and go back. Mu Dade listened to Zhao Yun's words and felt that it was very good. Mother, I think this method is good. Why don't we rent an ox cart to go back? Otherwise, we can't walk at all. Old Lady Mu, on the other hand, was distressed about the 30 copper coins. Today, she didn't get a single copper coin and suffered a lot. She couldn't possibly pay more now, could she? He couldn't accept it. Good my ass. 2. Chapter 2245. Luo Zuiyu chimed in, Mother, just spend the 30 copper coins. Anyway, I really can't walk anymore. If I walk back, I'll definitely die. I still have to give birth to Dade's son. If something happens to me, where will Dade's son, your eldest grandson, go to? Old Lady Mu looked at Mu Dade exasperatedly, then glanced at Luo Zuiyu. How unlucky was their Mu family to have such a daughter-in-law and son. Both of them were worrisome. They didn't know how to save money and only thought about giving it away. Mulan couldn't stand it any longer. She said to Mu Dade and Old Lady Mu, If you can get out of here quickly, I'll help you pay for the 30 copper coins. The members of the Mu family looked at Mulan with joy in their eyes. Old Lady Mu's originally cloudy eyes brightened. Really? Of course it's true. Who told you to get out quickly? The further the better. Old Lady Mu reached out and said to Mulan, All right, give us the 30 copper coins and we'll leave now. Mulan rolled her eyes and quickly took out the 30 copper coins from her pocket and placed it in Old Lady Mu's hand. Take it. Old Lady Mu chuckled and quickly dragged Mu Dade and Luo Zuiyu away. Seeing the Mu family leave slowly but at least gradually disappear from their sight, Mulan heaved a heavy sigh of relief. She then looked at Zhao Yun apologetically and said to Zhao Yun, Yun, I'm really sorry for causing trouble for you. Zhao Yun also smiled and replied comfortingly, It's no trouble. You can't do anything when you meet such a family. It has nothing to do with you. Sigh, I just didn't expect them to be so thick-skinned and want to ask for money again. This family is simply obsessed with money. They'll do anything for money. They didn't ask for it now, did they? All right, Mulan, don't be angry with them. Next time, if they dare to come again, just ignore them and teach them a lesson. Mulan nodded heavily and replied, Okay, I got it. When dealing with such a thick-skinned person, they had to be dealt with in a special way. That's right. Yuner, I think your little black is very powerful today. It's really amazing. It was the best way to chase away those weirdos. Later, I'll see if anyone has a puppy. I'll bring one back and raise it. When the time comes, it'll be like your little black. When I see those annoying people, I'll let it bite them. I'd like to see if those people still dare to do so. Zhao Yuner chuckled and nodded. Okay, then you can bring a puppy back. Since my little black is here, I can teach you. Little Hay seemed to understand and wagged its tail at Zhao Yuner. Zhao Yuner patted Little Black's head and praised him. Little Black, you're great today. I'm going to cook something delicious for you to reward you. Little Black wagged its tail even faster. After this incident, it was equivalent to a small interlude. Zhao Yuner didn't take it to heart. When the people from the third branch heard Zhao Yuner say that the county magistrate would come to attend Zhao Tianan's wedding, they asked if it was true. Chapter 2246. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao couldn't come back to their senses. Even the county prime minister came to attend their wedding. How much face did he have? When they talked about it later, everyone would say that the third branch was great. Yuner, he said that if the county magistrate comes, what should we do if we neglect him? If we do something wrong, will the county magistrate be angry? Zhao Wenhua began to worry, so he asked Zhao Yuner. Receiving the county magistrate was not like receiving ordinary people. They were always afraid that something would happen and it would have a bad influence. If the county magistrate was angry, they would have to bear the consequences. Zhao Yuner smiled and replied, "Father, what are you afraid of? Our Shitsi is not so particular. What does he want to be particular about?" "But, Father, the county magistrate's family is very approachable. They are not so picky. If they were picky, they would not take the initiative to ask to attend our wedding. They know the things in the countryside very well. Of course, they can't be compared with the things in the city. We just need to do what we should do. We don't need to think too much about the rest." Zhao Wenhua sighed, then nodded and said, "Okay, since you said so, we can only try our best. We don't need to think too much." But the days passed quickly. It was not long before the day of Zhao Tianan's wedding. The two families were preparing together in full swing. The house was decorated and it was very festive. Now Zhao Yuner's family was a well-known figure in the village. Therefore, after the wedding, the people in the village basically came to his house to join in the fun. It was a good deal to give a gift of dozens of copper coins and eat a delicious meal. If it was other families' banquets, they might not be able to eat well. However, after these banquets were held by old Zhao's family, which banquet was shabby? This time it was the third branch's turn. Of course, the third branch couldn't make their own banquet worse than others. The day before, Zhao Yuner and Mulan had bought all the dishes for the banquet. This time, because the two families were close to each other, Zhao Yuner and Mulan decided to eat together. Mulan's relatives had sent gifts over, but there were very few of them. They just happened to arrange a table. It was very suitable for Zhao Yuner to join them just now. Because of Zhao Tianan's wedding, Zhao Yuner couldn't handle it alone, so she invited Feng Xianxia, Qian Hongzhao, and Jin Ju. In addition, she found 2 old nannies in the village. With these people helping her, at least she could relax a little. As for Mulan, Zhao Yuner did not let her work with her. Instead, she helped Mu Hin dress up. He had to take good care of the bride, which would take up a lot of time. In the room, Zhao Tianan couldn't wait to put on a wedding dress. Because he was going to marry Mu Hin today, Zhao Tianan was very excited. He woke up early and couldn't sleep at all. Now, he only hoped to rush over immediately and carry Mu Hin to his house. Because the two families were too close to each other, only a few steps away, but they prepared a sedan chair, so they had to carry it around. Therefore, under Zhao Yuner's arrangement, Zhao Tianan and his family's team went to Mulan's house to pick up the bride. They went around the village's road, and then carried her back to the third branch's house. This way, it would take some time to get a taste of the wedding. Chapter 2247. In Mulan's house, Mu Hin was also wearing a custom-made wedding dress. As the saying goes, clothes make the man. It was indeed true. After putting on this festive and beautiful wedding dress, Mu Hin looked more delicate. Mulan first combed Mu Hin's hair. There was no one else in the house. She and Mu Hin were the only ones together, so the job of combing Mu Hin's hair fell to Mulan. Mulan combed Mu Hin's hair. Then, she picked a few accessories that Zhao Yuner had given to Mu Hin previously and put them on. The beautiful golden buyao swayed, adding a touch of beauty and playfulness. Mulan also put a pearl necklace on Mu Hin's neck and 2 bracelets on her wrist. After dressing up, she looked like a lady from a wealthy family. She did not look like a country girl at all. Mulan looked at Mu Hin in the mirror. After dressing up carefully, she looked like a pretty girl. If the groom saw Mu Hin like this, he would definitely like her. However, the bright red color made Mulan's eyes turn red. Mulan could not help but wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes. She hoped that Mu Hin could marry into a good family. Now that she saw Mu Hin getting married, she felt a different feeling in her heart. She felt a strong reluctance to part with her. Although they could still live together and see each other often in the future, it was still a little different. After marrying into someone else's family, she would belong to someone else. In the future, Mu Hin would not be the younger sister who hid behind her and needed her protection. She would be someone else's wife, someone who wanted to protect her and take care of her. Mulan was lamenting that her mother had died too early. It was her mother again. When she saw Mu Hin getting married, she would probably be very happy. The two girls that she had painstakingly raised were finally a family and had started a family. Seeing Mulan crying, Mu Hin quickly held Mulan's hand and comforted her. "Sister, don't cry. I'm just getting married. It's not like we won't be able to see each other in the future. After marrying Tianan, we can still see each other every day. Isn't that a good thing? Why are you crying?" Mulan hurriedly wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and smiled. "Yes, Xianxia, you're right. This is a good thing. I really can't cry. I was just a little excited for a moment, thinking that our family's XN has grown up and actually reached the age of marriage. You don't need me to protect you anymore. Tianan is a good boy. He'll definitely dote on you and love you. I'm relieved to hand you over to him." Upon hearing Mulan's words, Mu Hin choked with sobs. "Sis, all right, let's not cry. Today is your big day. Come, let's laugh together." Mulan hurriedly forced a smile. Mu Hin also forced a smile, but her grip on Mulan's hand tightened. "Sis, thank you. Thank you for taking care of me all this time. After Mother died, you're the only one I have. If it wasn't for you, I don't know what I would be like now. Sis, I'll always remember how good you've been to me." "Hey, what are you talking about? I'm your sister. No matter what, it's something I should do. Don't say thank you. Is there a need to be so distant and courteous with me? Anyway, sis, I just want to thank you. It's so good to have you around. Silly girl, stop talking. Hurry up and tidy up." Sis. Chapter 2248. Just then, Mulan's sister-in-law, Madame Qi, and Mrs. Zhu came in. Mulan frowned and said to the two of them, "What are you two doing here?" Mulan's tone was a little unhappy. Obviously, she didn't want to see Madame Qi and Mrs. Zhu. In any case, she felt that when Madame Qi and old Madame Zhu came over, they definitely wouldn't cause any trouble. Madame Qi smiled. "Second sister-in-law, why are you speaking so rudely? Your younger sister is getting married today. Can't we come to join in the fun? We're a family. Isn't your younger sister equivalent to my younger sister? Seeing that she's getting married, I'm also happy. What's wrong with coming to join in the fun?" Mulan rolled her eyes and said coldly to Madame Qi, "My younger sister is my younger sister. What does it have to do with you? Don't flatter yourself." "Second sister-in-law, why are you like this? Your mouth is full of cannons, as if someone has provoked you. I just don't want to see you here. That won't do. We won't leave. It's such a joyous day. Don't tell me you're chasing us away. Aren't you afraid of ruining the atmosphere?" Madame Qi raised her chin and looked fearless. She knew that most people wouldn't choose to make a fuss today. After all, the most important thing was the celebration. Mulan was infuriated, but when she thought about Qishi's words, she really couldn't chase them away since they were so thick-skinned. Mulan gritted her teeth and warned Madame Qi and Mrs. Zhu, "It's okay for you to come here to join in the fun. You'd better cause trouble for me. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer." "All right, we're just here to join in the fun," Madame Qi replied with a smile. Now that the busy farming season had passed, the villagers had some leisure time. It was rare for Madame Qi to come across such a lively day, so she naturally came to join in. Otherwise, she would be bored to death at home all day. Other than joining in the fun, she also wanted to eat at the banquet. Their eldest branch had only sent a gift. Normally, when people went to a banquet, there wouldn't be so many people at home. At most, only men would go over to eat or take care of their children. Women would stay at home and not be able to eat. And Madame Qi was a glutton. Thinking of the delicious food at the banquet, how could she leave her behind? Now that they were thick-skinned enough to join in the fun, they naturally sat down and started eating when the banquet started. Anyway, they were family. She did not believe that Mulan would really chase her away and not let her eat. Seeing Mu Hin sitting in front of the dressing table with a golden buyao on her head and expensive jewelry on the side, Madame Qi's eyes immediately lit up. She had never seen such beautiful jewelry before. And there were even gold ones. The glistening yellow gold was very eye-catching. Just by looking at it, one could tell that it was worth a lot of money. Madame Qi was secretly envious. She had never expected the second branch to be so wealthy. Even these gold jewelry could be taken out in piles. I say, second sister-in-law, aren't you a little too rich? Sister just got married and stuffed all these good things. Why don't I see you and second brother bringing money to show filial piety to mother? Mother is living a hard life now. Our eldest branch has no money and can't do anything about it. Your second branch has money, but don't you know how to express your gratitude? Madame Qi said sarcastically. When Mrs. Zhu heard Madame Qi's words, she suddenly looked displeased. Chapter 2249. Mulan rolled her eyes. This young master of hers just liked to stir up trouble. She couldn't wait to cause more trouble for his family. She just couldn't bear to see their family living well. Sister-in-law, what are you talking about? If you want to be filial, it's naturally your and eldest brother's turn to be more filial. It's not like you don't know how we separated from the family. Your first branch and third branch have taken more benefits, so now you're shouldering more responsibilities. Moreover, my family isn't very rich. The jewelry my little sister is wearing was bought with the help of Yun. I can't get so much money. I can only say that my little sister is lucky to have married into Yun Er's family. Today, she has the opportunity to wear gold and silver and be envied by others. Madame Qi pursed her lips and felt uncomfortable. She stared at Mu Hin a few more times. The more she looked at Mu Hin's jewelry, the more envious she became. When would their first branch become so rich that they could buy her some gold jewelry to wear? In the entire village, there weren't many women who could wear gold jewelry. Unfortunately, she could only think about it enviously in her heart. She knew that this wish was too far away and could not be realized at all. At this time, Zhu Dainiu also came over to join in the fun. If Zhu Sanlu hadn't been injured last time and was still lying in bed, he would definitely want to join in the fun today. Zhu Dainiu was a man, so he couldn't directly enter Mu Hin's boudoir like Madame Qi and Mrs. Zhu. He could only curiously stretch his head out and look outside, looking forward to seeing Mu Hin dressed up beautifully. In the past, he was really attracted to Mu Hin. This little girl was too beautiful. During the days when he lived in the family Zhu's old house, he often saw Mu Hin, so he had these strange thoughts about her. However, he didn't have the fortune to be with Mu Hin. He was already married and had a career. He was old and he wasn't a handsome man. It was normal that Mu Hin didn't like him. However, this didn't prevent him from having Mu Hin in his heart. When he saw Mu Hin getting married, he was even more reluctant to part with her. If possible, he wanted to keep Mu Hin. Some people and some things were beyond their ability. They could only sigh and feel helpless. Seeing Zhu Dainiu looking into Mu Hin's room like a thief, Zhu Eru frowned and walked towards him. He patted Zhu Dainiu's shoulder and asked him unhappily, "Big brother, what are you looking at?" Being caught by Zhu Zhu Dainiu was a little embarrassed. He laughed awkwardly and then said, Second brother, I saw that your wife's younger sister is getting married today, so I thought that she would definitely dress up very beautifully." "His weddings." Zhu Eru's frown deepened. He replied unhappily, "Big brother, what nonsense are you talking about? The bride is for the groom to see, not for you to see. Why are you looking at her so eagerly?" Being reprimanded by Zhu Eru like this, Zhu Dainiu felt that he had lost face. "Second brother, why are you being so rude? I'm just looking." What's wrong with looking? Can't the bride be seen by others except for the groom? If you're good-looking, you should be seen by others. Otherwise, who would know that the bride is beautiful? Chapter 2250. Zhu Eru's face instantly darkened. He felt that his eldest brother was being naughty again. He had been naughty before, staring at Mu Hin. It was normal for him to have such dirty thoughts again. Eldest brother, don't think that everyone is like you. I'm not as senseless as you. You already have a wife. Isn't that enough? Do you have to stare at other women? You're really eating from the bowl, thinking about the pot, and still looking forward to the vegetable field outside. To put it bluntly, you're not satisfied. Zhu Dainiu did not expect to be humiliated by Zhu Eru again. He was his eldest brother. How could he say that about him? Zhu Dainiu was not convinced and retorted, "Second brother, you can say that. Second sister-in-law is also very good-looking. But look at my wife. She's so ugly. I can't stand looking at her. I want to see a beautiful woman. Am I wrong? Besides, I'm just looking. There are so many people in our village. How many men go to the brothel behind their wives' backs to find women? I haven't even been there. I haven't done anything physically. Am I wrong to take a look?" Zhu Er did not know how to make a name for himself. He even came up with such logic. "Anyway, eldest brother, you can't look. Hurry up and get out. Don't look at her anymore. If you don't behave, I'll deal with you like how I dealt with third brother." As Zhu Er spoke, he raised his fist in a threatening manner. Zhu Dainiu then resentfully left the house. Really, his second brother was too petty. He just took a look. He didn't do anything. Okay. I'll leave, okay? Zhu Dainiu angrily waved his hand and left the house. Zhu Eru's expression returned to normal. The conversation between Zhu Dainiu and Zhu Eru was vaguely heard by Madame Qi. Madame Qi gritted her teeth in hatred. The man actually said that she was ugly. He even wanted to look at other women. Looking at Mu Hin's beautiful appearance, Madame Qi felt a stuffy breath in her chest. She felt so uncomfortable that she couldn't get it out. It seemed that there were no good men. They would all be seduced by vixens. She then stared at Mu Hin. Her beautiful appearance stung Madame Qi's eyes. Madame Qi couldn't wait to step forward and scratch Su Qingyao's face. Unfortunately, she didn't dare. In the end, she could only endure it. Vixen. Even so, Madame Qi still cursed in a low voice. Now that she was married, she hoped that Mu Hin would stop seducing others. She couldn't set her eyes on other people's men. "All right, Exen, you can put on the red veil now." Mu Hin took out the red veil and covered Mu Hin with it. Mu Hin responded. Then, Mu Lan helped her to the bed and sat down. "All we have to do is wait. When the auspicious hour arrives, the bridal procession will arrive." Yes, I got it, sis." Mu Hin sat in front of the bed. She was very nervous, but there was also a touch of expectation in her nervousness. Thinking that she was going to be Zhao Tianan's wife, what could make her happier than this? There's no hurry. There's still a while before the auspicious hour. "Mother, can you go to Yun's place and see?" "Sis, go ahead. See if Sister Yun needs any help. Her family is very busy today. Well, stay in the room for a while. I'll be back soon." After telling Mu Hin, Mu Lan went out of the room. Chapter 2251. At this time, there were many people in the courtyard of Zhao Yun's house. The most shocking thing was the arrival of the county magistrate's family. The county magistrate was sitting in a large carriage. The carriage stopped in front of the courtyard of Zhao Yun's house. The county minister was dressed in casual clothes, but he still had an extraordinary aura. He had an unparalleled majesty. Perhaps he had been an official for a long time, so he naturally had this aura. Behind the county magistrate was a woman in a silk dress and a child. The woman wasn't very old, and she was very beautiful. The child was fair and cute, like a porcelain doll. Although the crowd did not know the identity of the county magistrate, they knew that he was definitely not an ordinary person. Ah, the people from the third branch are so powerful. What kind of important person came to hold a wedding? Looking at his clothes, I know he is not an ordinary person. He should be a rich person from Yang City. Ah, isn't this the county magistrate? I saw him when I went to Yang City for a lawsuit. Xuanzi, don't make a mistake. This is the county magistrate? Are you sure? I said I saw him. I can't remember how he looks like, but how can I not remember this county magistrate? This is the person who came, I'm sure. After hearing Xuanzi's words, he looked so sure. It did not seem like he was lying. The crowd frowned and thought, could it be true? If the person who came to attend the third branch's wedding was the county magistrate, how influential would the third branch of old Zhao's family be? It was rare to see a big family holding a wedding in Yang City. How many people could invite the county magistrate? However, these people were curious about the relationship between the third branch of old Zhao's family and the county magistrate. How could they be so influential to invite the county magistrate? At this time, Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao were entertaining other people. The relatives of the Liang family came, so Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao had to greet them and arrange their seats. When they heard that the county magistrate was coming, they hurried out of the house and greeted Zhao Yun, at the same time. Zhao Yun handed over the matters in the kitchen to the others, and temporarily went out to receive the guests. Sir, madam, you are here. Thank you for your hard work. You must be tired after such a long journey. Hurry up and sit down in the house. Have a rest and have a cup of tea. The county magistrate and his wife nodded casually. It's okay. We are not tired. You don't have to entertain us. Just treat us like others. After all, your family is so busy with the wedding today. We've troubled you by coming over to join in the fun. Madam, you're exaggerating. It's our family's fortune to have you and Milord here. We couldn't ask for more, so how could we find it troublesome? Hurry up and sit down in the house. The table and chairs and tables have been prepared. The county magistrate and his wife answered with a smile and then went into the house. Lan Xuanda excitedly pulled Zhao Yun's hand. His face was soft and cute, but with a bit of grievance he said to Zhao Yun, Sister Yun, you haven't come to see Xian, for a long time. Xian missed you so much. Chapter 2252. Lan Xian's eyebrows moved slightly. Finally, he nodded heavily and responded, Well, but sister, if you have time in the future, you must visit me more often. Zhao Yun saw that Lan Xian was sometimes so sensible that she felt sorry for him. She immediately agreed, If sister has time, I will definitely visit Xian. At that time, I will bring little sister with me. But she invited the county magistrate and his family to sit at the table and then made them a pot of tea. In addition, she asked Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao to get some peanuts and melon seeds. If they felt bored, they could eat something to pass the time. The county magistrate's family was not so particular, so Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao were relieved. They thought that it would be difficult to entertain them. They didn't expect that the county magistrate's family was so easy to get along with as Zhao Yun said. Miss Yun, you don't need to care about us. Just go and do your own things. The county magistrate's wife smiled slightly and let Zhao Yun and her family go. The more attentive they were to her, the more reserved she felt. Originally, she came out today to relax and join in the fun. If there were too many people around her, she would feel uncomfortable. Well, sir and madam, if you need anything, you can call us at any time. Okay. Zhao Yun went back to the kitchen to continue cooking. The third branch's couple entertained the others. Early in the morning, Zhao Wenxing and Jin Suizhuan came to Shui Lan village from the town. When they arrived at Zhao Yun's house, it was already past 8 o'clock. There were also many people gathered in the courtyard of Zhao Yun's house. The other branches of old Zhao's family wanted to join in the fun. This person came to the third branch's house early in the morning. Now that the farm work was finished, except for the women who had to do the housework, the men were all idle. Seeing Zhao Wenxing and Jin Suizhuan come back together, Zhao Wentao was pleasantly surprised and said to old Zhao's family, fifth brother and fifth sister-in-law are back. I haven't seen them for a long time. Fifth brother hasn't been home for a long time. Today, we are holding a wedding at third brother's house. Otherwise, I don't know when I can see fifth brother. Zhao Wenhua nodded and responded. Her eyes were filled with tears. She said excitedly, yes, I haven't seen fifth brother for a long time indeed. This time, he's finally back. Our Zhao family can finally be reunited today. It's rare. It's really great. Let's go and have a chat with fifth brother. We haven't seen each other for so long. We need to have a good chat. Compared to the excitement of Zhao Yunlong and Zhao Wentao, the rest of the Zhao family did not have much of a reaction. Hua Chunhua, on the other hand, had a gloomy expression on her face. She seemed very unhappy as she reprimanded Zhao Wentao and Zhao Yunlong. He abandoned our whole family for a widow, and now he still knows to come back? Anyway, I'll pretend I didn't give birth to this son. I get angry just looking at him. And that widow, she's so cheap. Her man is dead. She doesn't do anything else but hang out with men outside. Our old Zhao's family is unlucky. One of the few scholars was killed by her. After Hua Chuanhua's scolding, Zhao Wentao and Zhao Wenhua were embarrassed. Chapter 2253. Zhao Wenhua also tried to persuade her. That's right, mother. Fourth brother is right. Fifth brother and fifth sister-in-law finally came back. Aren't you making them feel awkward by giving them such an expression? How can they continue to stay here? We're a family after all. What's so big that we can't get over it? Fifth brother isn't a child. He's an adult. The decision he made back then wasn't made on a whim. It's already like this. We should give our blessings to fifth brother and fifth brother instead of making a scene like this. Mother, fifth brother is your flesh and blood. It's been so long since you were angry. Your anger should have subsided by now, right? Now that fifth brother is back, it's equivalent to taking the initiative to deal with you. Take this opportunity to reconcile. Don't keep being in a deadlock. There's still a long way to go. We can't not be a family anymore, right? Zhao Wentao and Zhao Wenhua spoke one after another. Hua Chuanhua's face darkened and she didn't say anything. It was a bit difficult for her to forgive Zhao Wenxing all of a sudden. She just couldn't get over that hurdle in her heart. She had painstakingly raised this child and even specially provided for his education. How could he abandon their old Zhao family for a widow? He had studied for so many years in vain. He had no future at all. No wonder people said that once a man got a wife, he would forget his mother. It was true. Zhao Baoshan, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke. He said in a somewhat weary voice, "It's indeed not easy for old fifth to come back. Anyway, things can't be changed. Don't bring up old scores today. It's a peaceful and joyous day. Our family should be happy. Don't make a scene and let others see us as a joke." Hua Chunhua responded weakly with an unhappy look on her face. At this moment, Zhao Wenxing had already helped Jin Suizhuan to old Zhao family's courtyard. Zhao Wenxing had not seen his family for a long time. He had a different feeling in his heart. There was a touch of embarrassment on his face, but the corners of his mouth twitched, revealing a smile, and he braced himself to greet these people. Eldest brother, eldest sister-in-law, second brother, third sister-in-law. Zhao Wenxing first greeted his brothers and sisters-in-law. These people were easier to deal with. After all, they didn't have any opinions about him. They even replied very politely. Finally, Zhao Wenxing looked nervously at Zhao Baoshan and Hua Chunhua and called out, "Father, mother." Zhao Baoshan coughed softly and gave an indifferent response to Zhao Wenxing. Hua Chunhua pulled a long face and snorted softly, "You still know to come back. You still remember that I'm your mother." Zhao Wenxing's ears turned red and he lowered his head, not knowing what to say. There was a hint of resentment in his tone. Zhao Baoshan poked Hua Chuanhua's arm. All right. Didn't I tell you to stop talking? What are you still mumbling about? Hua Chunhua pursed her lips. She coveted Zhao Baoshan's prestige and didn't say anything else. Zhao Wenxing felt a little better. Then he gave Jin Suizhuan a look. Jin Suizhuan faced Hua Chunhua and Zhao Baoshan somewhat cautiously and called out, "Father, mother, and..." Zhao Baoshan gave her face and responded. This meant that he acknowledged Jin Suizhuan as old Zhao's daughter-in-law. Jin Suizhuan was somewhat happy. However, Hua Chunhua didn't say anything in response. It was already good enough that she didn't call Jin Suizhuan a vixen. How could she respond to Jin Suizhuan? Chapter 2254. Zhao Wenxing held Jin Suizhuan's hand tightly and comforted her. Jin Suizhuan also returned a smile. Actually, she knew that she wasn't good enough for a scholar like Zhao Wenxing. She could understand why old Zhao's family treated her coldly. No matter how Zhao Wenxing's family treated her, she didn't care. Even if they didn't have a proper status, she didn't care. As long as Zhao Wenxing cared about her and put her in his heart, that was more important than anything else. It was also because of this that she insisted on being with Zhao Wenxing. No matter what the future held, she believed that everything would slowly get better. In order to gain the approval of Hua Chunhua and Zhao Baoshan so that they could accept Jin Suizhuan as soon as possible, Zhao Wenxing decided to tell them the good news that Jin Suizhuan was pregnant. This was a rather important matter. If they knew that the fifth branch had an heir, their attitude towards Jin Suizhuan would change. All these years, as the youngest son in the family, Hua Chunhua and Zhao Baoshan were the most worried about him. Once the fifth branch had an heir, the other branches of the old Zhao family would be complete. Father, mother, this time, other than coming back to attend Tianan's wedding, I actually have another piece of good news to tell you, Zhao Wenxing said. Zhao Baoshan looked at Zhao Wenxing, his gaze hinting for Zhao Wenxing to say it. Father, mother, Suizhuan is pregnant with my child. Our fifth branch has an heir. Hearing Zhao Wenxing's words, Zhao Baoshan's expression changed slightly. He was clearly happy. No matter what, it was a happy thing for the fifth branch to have an heir. As a father, no matter how dissatisfied he was with Zhao Wenxing's marriage, he was still happy for Zhao Wenxing. And not bad, that's good news. In the future, bring your wife back more often. If it wasn't for Tianan's wedding today, who knows when you'd know to come back. Zhao Baoshan seemed to be complaining, but his tone and expression were much better than before. Zhao Wenxing knew that for Zhao Baoshan to say such words, it meant that the anger in his heart had mostly subsided. Thus, he heaved a heavy sigh of relief. He then looked at Hua Chunhua's face. Her complexion seemed better than before, but she still didn't say anything. Zhao Wenxing comforted himself and told himself to take it slow. Today's result was already the first step, and it would slowly get better. Fifth brother and fifth sister-in-law, congratulations. Zhao Wenhua was the first to congratulate them. The other branches of old Zhao's family congratulated the fifth branch, and the awkward atmosphere became much more harmonious. The third branch continued to receive the guests, and soon it was time to pick up the bride. Zhao Wenhua went to Zhao Tianan's room and asked Zhao Tianan to get ready. Tianan, have you tidied up your clothes? We have to go and fetch the bride. Zhao Tianan had been waiting for this moment. As soon as he heard Zhao Wenhua say this, he immediately nodded and responded, Dad, it's done. All right, let's go. Zhao Tianan came out wearing the groom's clothes. The bright red gown set off his delicate and handsome face. Usually he didn't feel it, but now he felt that he was much more handsome. He was a proper handsome man. As soon as Zhao Tianan came out of the house, the villagers who came to join in the fun saw him and praised him one by one. Don't say, Tianan is really handsome. Chapter 2255. Who knows at that time? At that time, no one would take a fancy to old Zhao's third branch. Sai, if you want to blame someone, you can only blame yourself for being too shallow. To be able to marry your daughter to old Zhao's family, not to mention Tianan's handsome appearance, old Zhao's third branch is living such a good life now. With so much money, won't your child enjoy a good life after marrying over? In the future, you'll be able to eat and drink well for the rest of your life. You don't have to be like us, sometimes unable to even fill your stomach. Isn't that so? Now that he's going to marry a wife, we won't have this opportunity. Sigh. Several women sat together and chattered. In addition to sighing at Zhao Tianan's handsome appearance, they also regretted that they couldn't be related to Zhao Yun'er's family. They didn't expect that an outsider would take advantage of them. At this time, outside Zhao Yun'er's courtyard, Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan also came to attend Zhao Tianan's wedding. After all, it was a big event, and Zhao Ping was Zhao Tianan's biological sister, so it was not good for her not to come. The restaurant's business had stabilized, so it was fine to leave it to the restaurant's manager. It wouldn't take much effort for them to take a day off. Ma Xiaofeng came with Zhao Ping to attend Zhao Tianan's wedding. Ma Xiaofeng originally didn't want to come, but Zhao Ping persuaded her. In case Zhao Tianan saw Ma Xiaofeng and still had feelings for Ma Xiaofeng and changed his mind at the last minute, he could directly pull Ma Xiaofeng to the wedding ceremony. Anyway, there was a chance to change the situation if she went. She could only stay at home and watch the man she liked be snatched away by others. Ma Xiaofeng pondered for a while, then agreed to let Zhao Ping come. Before Ma Xiaofeng came over, Zhao Ping specially told Ma Xiaofeng to dress up beautifully, wearing beautiful clothes and wearing beautiful jewelry. All men liked beautiful women. As long as Zhao Tianan caught a glimpse of Ma Xiaofeng, he would definitely know that Ma Xiaofeng was prettier than Mu Hin. Ma Xiaofeng put on her newly bought silk dress. The light green dress was full of immortal aura. She wore a white jade hairpin on her head, which added a bit of delicateness. Coupled with the matching jewelry, she looked just like a young lady from a rich family. She was completely different from the countryside girl from before. Seeing Ma Xiaofeng dressed like this, she was discovered by the sharp-eyed villagers. Many women brought the topic back to Ma Xiaofeng. Look, Ma Xiaofeng and the eldest daughter of old Zhao's third branch have earned a lot of money. Now, they are dressed so well and even have money to buy these jewelry. Aya, haven't you heard? The restaurant they opened in Yang City is doing well. How can the daily income of such a big restaurant be bad? It has been a while, so they must have earned a lot of money. No wonder. Some people become rich inexplicably, but this luck doesn't fall on others. It can't be helped. There were also women who expressed their disdain. So what if they have money? Look at this Ma Xiaofeng. She is dressed like a vixen. Who is she trying to impress by dressing so gaudy? Aya, isn't she just trying to hook up with men? Think about it, this Ma Xiaofeng is so young. She is really not a good person. Back then, even Dr. Sun was willing to hook up with her. What man do you think she doesn't dare to hook up with? That's called shameless, okay? Dr. Sun is already so old. How can she eat such an old man? Chapter 2256. The women's evaluation of Ma Xiaofeng was very bad. Because of the things that Ma Xiaofeng had caused before, everyone looked at Ma Xiaofeng with some disdain. Although Ma Xiaofeng had no choice but to please Dr. Sun because she wanted to save her mother. But if Ma Xiaofeng could be an honest person and keep a low profile, everyone would not mention this matter again. However, Ma Xiaofeng could not keep a low profile. Now that she was dressed very well and looked very eye-catching, it was inevitable that she would be envied by the women in the village. Women were jealous to begin with. In addition, when Ma Xiaofeng appeared, many men came over to join in the fun. Many men stared at Ma Xiaofeng non-stop. They were completely attracted by Ma Xiaofeng, so she had no choice but to be targeted by the women. You all keep an eye on your men. I think this Ma Xiaofeng probably has some other thoughts again. She wants to hook up with men. It's better not to let her have the chance to succeed. Well, that's for sure. The vixen has already appeared. What if we don't keep an eye on our men? Who asked all men to be so lecherous and like to have an affair? This Ma Xiaofeng shouldn't be allowed to stay in the village anymore. She's making us all anxious. After everyone denounced her, Ma Xiaofeng did not care because her attention was all on Zhao Tianan. At this time, Zhao Tianan was tidying up his clothes, and his face was filled with a bright smile. Ma Xiaofeng saw such a groom from afar and had a different feeling in her heart. In fact, in the village, Zhao Tianan's conditions were definitely very good. Not only was he handsome, but he was also very honest and considerate. With such a person, she would definitely be able to live a happy life. If it weren't for that series of things, perhaps the one who married Zhao Tianan today would not be Mu Hin, but her. Ma Xiaofeng felt heartache and regret. Sometimes things were like this. It was easy to get something, but it was also easy to lose something. If he wanted to blame someone, he could only blame himself for not catching him. Seeing Ma Xiaofeng in a daze, Zhao Ping patted Ma Xiaofeng's shoulder. Xiaofeng, what are you doing? Let's go in. The corners of Ma Xiaofeng's mouth twitched as she responded. Zhao Ping pulled Ma Xiaofeng and walked directly to Zhao Tianan. On the surface, he intended to greet Zhao Tianan, but in fact, he wanted to let Zhao Tianan see Ma Xiaofeng and carefully consider whether to marry Ma Xiaofeng or Mu Hin. Ah, Tianan, after you put on this wedding dress today and dress up properly, you won't be able to find anyone more handsome than you. I didn't realize it before, but today I finally realized that my biological younger brother can be so handsome. You've made me proud. Zhao Ping said with a smile. Her voice was very loud, as though she was afraid that Zhao Tianan couldn't hear her. Zhao Tianan's ears turned red. He turned his head and looked at Zhao Ping. Sister, don't make fun of me. How am I making fun of you? I'm clearly telling the truth. Xiaofeng, tell me, am I right? Tianan is much more handsome than usual today, isn't he? Zhao Ping deliberately pulled Ma Xiaofeng to let Zhao Tianan notice Ma Xiaofeng. Under Zhao Ping's arrangement, Zhao Tianan's gaze fell on Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng was very beautifully dressed today. She was much more beautiful than he had ever seen her before. Chapter 2257. It had been a long time since he last saw Ma Xiaofeng. The two of them met again under such circumstances. Ma Xiaofeng was still Ma Xiaofeng, and he was someone else's groom today. If it weren't for the series of events back then, perhaps the ones walking into the wedding today would be him and Ma Xiaofeng. It was a pity that the world was fickle and unpredictable. Since it had already changed and could not be undone, there was no need to think about it anymore. The most important thing was to do well in the present and cherish the people in front of him. His feelings for Ma Xiaofeng were only in the past and would slowly fade away with time. Now, Mu Hin was the only person left in his heart. As for Ma Xiaofeng, he only wished her well in his heart. A good girl like Ma Xiaofeng would definitely find a man who would love and dote on her in the future. It was a pity that this man was not him. Ma Xiaofeng lowered her head, and her cheeks were slightly red. She replied in a small voice, Tianan is indeed quite handsome today. Zhao Ping quickly said, Tianan, you heard it now, right? I'm not the only one who praised you today. Even Xiaofeng said so. Zhao Tianan's cheeks also blushed for a moment, but he was too embarrassed to say anything more. Actually, he was too embarrassed to face Ma Xiaofeng. It was really awkward to see Ma Xiaofeng at such an occasion. Zhao Ping saw that Zhao Tianan was in a daze and did not have any other intentions. She was extremely anxious. This idiot, how could he be so indifferent when he saw how beautiful Xiaofeng was today? He didn't seem to care about Xiaofeng at all. Could it be that this brother of hers had really forgotten Ma Xiaofeng completely? Wasn't this a little too heartless? At this moment, Zhao Wenhua urged Zhao Tianan, Tianan, are you ready? If you're ready, quickly get on the horse and receive the bride. But Zhao Tianan quickly responded, then said to Zhao Ping and Ma Xiaofeng, Sister, Xiaofeng, I'm going. As he spoke, he turned around, went to the horse, and jumped onto its back. Before Zhao Ping could stop Zhao Tianan had already left. Sigh, really? Zhao Ping huffed angrily. How could it be like this? Now that he saw Ma Xiaofeng, why didn't he reconsider? He still wanted to receive the bride. It seemed that Mu Hin really charmed Zhao Tianan, making it impossible for Zhao Tianan to forget that he left her and abandoned Ma Xiaofeng. After Zhao Tianan jumped onto the horse's back, the bridal procession left old Zhao's house in a grandiose manner. They first circled around the village, then circled to Mu Lan's house to receive the bride. Watching the bridal procession leave, Ma Xiaofeng's heart seemed even more empty. Seeing the bright red figure on the horse's back, that handsome young man, Ma Xiaofeng suddenly felt a lump in her throat, and her eyes couldn't help but redden. She thought that she was just putting on a show for Zhao Tianan before, but she fancied Zhao Yun's family's conditions and wanted her to marry into a good family so that she could enjoy the rest of her life. At this time, Ma Xiaofeng realized that in fact, she didn't just fancy Zhao Yun's family's conditions. She had unknowingly developed some feelings for Zhao Tianan. Unfortunately, this boy with feelings got married today, but he married another girl. From now on, there was no possibility of her and Zhao Tianan being together. Ma Xiaofeng tried hard to restrain herself, not letting her tears fall. Chapter 2258. Zhao Ping glanced sideways at Ma Xiaofeng, and her heart ached for her. She only had one friend, Ma Xiaofeng, so she tried her best to help Ma Xiaofeng so that Ma Xiaofeng could be happy. Unfortunately, she couldn't interfere in the current situation and couldn't help Ma Xiaofeng at all. After all, she wasn't Zhao Tianan's biological parents, so she couldn't decide who Zhao Tianan would marry. If they really followed their parents' orders and matchmakers' instructions, as Zhao Tianan's parents, she would definitely let Zhao Tianan marry Ma Xiaofeng and not Mu Hin. Zhao Ping sighed heavily. This silly brother of hers, didn't he know who was good and who was bad? Ma Xiaofeng was clearly so much better than Mu Hin, so why didn't he realize it? He would definitely regret it in the future. Xiaofeng, don't be sad. He didn't choose you because he didn't have the good fortune. He was blind to have fallen for a slut like Mu Hin. Zhao Ping patted Ma Xiaofeng's shoulder and comforted Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng tugged at the corner of her mouth and smiled helplessly. Sister Ping, I'm fine. You don't have to comfort me. Tao, Sai, I'm telling the truth. Don't be sad. When I see your eyes turn red, I feel sad too. Zhao Ping said with a tearful tone. Ma Xiaofeng was touched for a moment. She looked at Zhao Ping and said, Sister Ping, thank you. Sai, what are you thanking me for? You're my good friend, so of course I want you to be happy. It's a pity that I couldn't do anything to help you or win Tianan's heart. It's okay, Sister Ping, you've already helped me a lot. This was Tianan's decision, and no one could change it. Perhaps I don't have the fortune to be with Tianan, nor do I have the fortune to bring our relationship closer. Xiaofeng, don't say any more. If you continue, I'm going to cry. Zhao Ping couldn't help but wipe the tears from the corner of her eyes. Ma Xiaofeng pursed her lips and tried her best to suppress the sadness in her heart. Then she said to Zhao Ping, Sister Ping, I want some peace and quiet. All right, I'll go with you. Compared to Zhao Ping and Ma Xiaofeng's sadness, the villagers were in a good mood after seeing such a lively scene. They were all very happy. This kind of excitement was rare to see. Although there were other families in the village holding a wedding, none of them could hold a wedding as grand as Zhao Yun'er's. Not to mention that even the county magistrate was there. The wedding ceremony was also one of a kind. No one could compare. The county magistrate had never seen such excitement before. He usually attended weddings in the prefectural city. This was the first time he had seen such excitement in the countryside. It gave them the impression that a wedding in the countryside was much livelier than a wedding in the city. Everyone in the village was gathered together, chattering and laughing. The atmosphere was completely different from the one they were used to. They couldn't help but walk out of the courtyard and watch the wedding procession leave. They also listened to the villagers' discussions. Only when they immersed themselves in this kind of atmosphere could they understand the local customs. Lan Xian was usually cooped up in the residence and felt very bored. He felt a little tired every day and didn't have much energy. It wasn't easy for him to come out and join in the excitement. He felt much more energetic and cheerful than usual. Chapter 2259. It seemed that she had to take the child out more often in the future. Staying at home all the time would only make the child more introverted, depressed, and not talkative. Coming out to get some fresh air and join in the fun, he looked lively and energetic. Mother, when will the wedding procession come back? Lan Xian pulled the deputy magistrate's wife's hand and asked. The deputy magistrate's wife shook her head and said, I don't know. It should be soon. Let's just wait. Mother, this is so fun. Mother, can you bring me here to play more often? Lan Xian looked at the deputy magistrate's wife with big and bright eyes full of expectation. The deputy magistrate's wife had a warm smile on her face. She touched Lan Xian's head and replied, Of course you can. If you want to play, just tell me. If your father doesn't have time, I'll play with you. Lan Xian nodded heavily in response. His little face was full of smiles and he looked very excited. The deputy magistrate's wife narrowed her eyes and looked very happy. She didn't know what her child wanted or liked, so she wanted to give him the best of everything. Now she found that the things her liked were so simple. He didn't like material things but companionship and joy. She wasn't a competent mother before and neglected a lot of things. The yard was still lively, but Qin Yuan was a little bored. He wasn't interested in these things. The only person in his heart was Zhao Xinhui. Unfortunately, he didn't find Zhao Xinhui among so many people who came to old Zhao's house. He didn't know where Zhao Xinhui went. Qin Yuan looked for her for a while but couldn't find her. He had to ask Hu Chunhua, "Grandma, where is Hui? Did she come to play today?" Seeing Qin Yuan, Hu Chunhua's attitude was quite good. Hu Chunhua knew that the Qin Yuan needed to develop a good relationship with Zhao Xinhui, so she replied with a smile, "She came over to play. Hui is eating melon seeds in her room. Do you want me to call her out for you?" Zhao Xinhui was a precious person. In addition, her body had been tortured before, so she was a little weak, so she couldn't stand for long. She didn't gather outside to watch the fun like the others. Instead, she sat in Zhao Yun's house and ate the melon seeds and peanuts prepared by Zhao Yun. Qin Yuan hurriedly waved his hand and said with a smile, No, Grandma. I can go by myself." "Alright, go ahead then." Hu Chunhua replied with a smile. Zhao Baoshan coughed softly and poked Hu Chunhua with his arm. Hu Chunhua looked at Zhao Baoshan with some confusion and asked, "I say, old man, what's wrong with you? Why are you poking me with your elbow? Don't you know that I'm already so old and skinny? You're hurting me." Zhao Baoshan frowned and reprimanded Hu Chunhua softly in her ear, "You're really too much. Why did you let Qin Yuan look for Hui? Why can't he look for Hui? Can we stop him if he wants to see Hui? Now that he's opened a restaurant, he's no longer the poor boy he used to be. Since he still has feelings for Hui, let the two of them spend more time together. As her father, you should know that with Hui's conditions, how can she find a better man?" Chapter 2260. However, Zhao Baoshan said, "You old woman, how can I not know about this? But it's fine if it's in our house. After all, no one saw it and no one knows. It's in public and almost everyone in the village is there. What do you think people will think if they see that Qin Yuan is hooking up with our Hui? What kind of gossip will it spread? I think you're not thinking clearly at all. You're not thinking about the reputation of our old Zhao family." Hu Chunhua pursed her lips, as if she didn't care at all. "Old man, why are you always talking about our old Zhao family's reputation? Is your old face more important, or is the rest of Hui's life more important? You're Hui's biological father. Can't you hope for her to be well?" Zhao Baoshan said unhappily, "Why can't I hope for her to be well? But you don't have to do it in front of so many people, right? Why do you have to make such a big fuss? Why do you have to embarrass yourself like this when you don't have to? Who doesn't care about face in our village? Hui is important, but our old Zhao family's reputation is also important. Anyway, I don't care. In my heart, Hui is still the most important. I don't care about reputation. The rest of Hui's life will only be good if she has enough to eat and drink. Today's matter can't be exposed, but it will be exposed one day. Anyway, Hui will definitely live with Qin Yuan in the future. It's just a matter of time. Why are you still worried about this and that?" After being scolded by Hu Chunhua, Zhao Baoshan sighed and waved his hand. "Whatever you say. I won't care, okay?" Qin Yuan had already rushed into Zhao Yun's house. He couldn't wait to see Zhao Xinhui. When they arrived at Zhao Yun's house, they saw Zhao Xinhui sitting alone in front of a stool, eating melon seeds out of boredom and looking outside. Qin Yuan grinned and stuck close to Zhao Xinhui. She lowered her voice and cried, "Hui!" Zhao Xinhui raised his head and met Qin Yuan's eyes. There was a hint of excitement in his eyes. "You've come?" Yeah. "Since you're here, sit down." Let's eat sunflower seeds together. Zhao Xinhui patted the stool beside her and motioned for Qin Yuan to sit beside her. However, Qin Yuan said, I'm not tired or hungry. There's no need to sit down and eat melon seeds. Zhao Xinhui was stunned, then said, even if you're not hungry or tired, you can't just stand there. What's the point of just standing here? A shy smile appeared on Qin Yuan's face. Let's go somewhere else. There are too many people here. Let's find a quiet place to talk. She said that she wanted to talk, but in fact she wanted to hug Zhao Xinhui and touch Zhao Xinhui. A man and a woman in love really lived up to the saying that one day apart felt like 3 years. He hadn't seen Zhao Xinhui for a few days, and he missed her so much. Besides missing Zhao Xinhui, he also missed Zhao Xinhui's body. When he thought of the pleasure he had with Zhao Xinhui in bed, Qin Yuan couldn't control himself. As if she could see Qin Yuan's thoughts, Zhao Xinhui smiled, then stood up and said to Qin Yuan, all right then, let's go to the back of the house to talk. It's quiet there. There's no one there. Yeah. Qin Yuan responded excitedly. Chapter 2261. Since Zhao Yun'er's house was large, the back room was more secluded. In addition, some of the plants in the back room had not been removed, so it was difficult to see them once they went in. There were many people in Zhao Yun'er's house, so everyone was excited to see what was going on. No one noticed Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui. When the two of them arrived at the back of Zhao Yun'er's house, Qin Yuan eagerly went up to Zhao Xinhui. I missed you so much. When Qin Yuan saw that no one was around, he threw all caution to the wind and hugged Zhao Xinhui. He buried his head in Zhao Xinhui's neck and whispered sweet nothings to her. On the surface, Zhao Xinhui pushed Qin Yuan away, but on the inside, she was very happy. She said sweetly, you jerk? Seriously? Aren't you afraid of being seen? Qin Yuan looked around and replied with a grin, it's very safe here. Everyone has nothing to do. Why would we come to the back of the house? What if someone saw us? Zhao Xinhui lowered her head and blushed. Qin Yuan smiled. Don't be afraid. They won't. It's not a big deal if someone sees us. I'm going to marry you in the future anyway. We're going to be together. This is a good opportunity to let everyone know. Zhao Xinhui covered her mouth and smiled. She looked at Qin Yuan's handsome face and didn't know why she liked him so much. Qin Yuan seemed to be better at coaxing people than young Master Huang. When Zhao Xinhui saw that no one was around, she reached out her hand and caressed Qin Yuan's body. She teased him. Qin Yuan, I haven't seen you for a few days. Did you really miss me? Of course it's true. I missed you so much. Qin Yuan replied without hesitation. Zhao Xinhui shook his head. I don't believe you. How can you prove that you really miss me? Qin Yuan hurriedly pulled Zhao Xinhui's hand up and placed it on his heart. He said to Zhao Xinhui, my heart is right here. Feel it and you'll know if I'm telling the truth. If it's possible, I really want you to crawl into my heart or dig it out for you to see. That way, you'll be able to tell if I'm telling the truth. Zhao Xinhui was amused by Qin Yuan. I was just saying, look at how anxious you are. If you really dig your heart out, wouldn't you be dead? As long as I can prove my sincerity and you can trust me, what harm is there in taking my life? Zhao Xinhui hurriedly covered Qin Yuan's mouth. All right. Don't say such unlucky things. I believe in your sincerity, okay? You're the woman I love the most. I've never been hypocritical towards you. We still have a long life ahead of us. I hope to use my actions to prove to you that you didn't choose the wrong man. He'll give you happiness, Qin Yuan said seriously as he held Zhao Xinhui's hand. Zhao Xinhui's heart felt as if it was filled with honey. It was sweet. When the two of them hugged each other, they couldn't control themselves. Qin Yuan hugged Zhao Xinhui's waist, then bent down and nibbled on Zhao Xinhui's lips. They kissed for a long time, but he still wasn't satisfied. He couldn't bear to let go of Zhao Xinhui. After this kiss, their bodies gradually heated up. They couldn't control themselves. Chapter 2262. He wanted her. He wanted her now. At the thought of Zhao Xinhui's body, Qin Yuan couldn't control himself anymore. Zhao Xinhui lightly punched Qin Yuan's chest with her fist and pouted coquettishly. I didn't know that you were such a pervert. Previously, Zhao Xinhui thought that Qin Yuan was quite honest and wouldn't say or do such things. She didn't expect that she had overestimated him. In fact, Qin Yuan was the same. Qin Yuan smiled and replied, how many men aren't perverted? If they don't look perverted, they're just pretending. But I can't be perverted by other women. You're the only one in my heart, so I only want to be perverted by you. Zhao Xinhui blushed. Although she had done that kind of thing many times, she was still a little shy to do it with the man she liked. It was a different kind of feeling. You can't do it even if you want me. This place isn't suitable. Hold it in. Zhao Xinhui lowered her head and said shyly. I can't hold it in anymore. Touch it if you don't believe me. As Qin Yuan spoke, he pulled Zhao Xinhui's hand and let her touch his thing that was reacting. After Zhao Xinhui touched it, her ears turned even redder. It seemed that Qin Yuan really couldn't hold it in any longer. She looked at Qin Yuan's expression again. She couldn't refuse his impatience. Actually, after touching Qin Yuan, Zhao Xinhui's body reacted the same way. She was a normal woman. She also looked forward to this kind of thing. Zhao Xinhui couldn't bear to reject Qin Yuan. She lowered her head and said shyly, if you really want to do it, let's go to my house. There's no one at my house. We can do whatever we want. With that, Zhao Xinhui took Qin Yuan's hand and prepared to leave. Qin Yuan, on the other hand, stood where he was, unwilling to leave. Zhao Xinhui frowned and asked in confusion, what's wrong, Qin Yuan? Don't you want to do it? Qin Yuan shook his head. No, of course I want to. Then why don't you leave? Hurry up, don't dawdle. The sooner you go to my house, the sooner we can start. Qin Yuan smiled wretchedly. I want to do it right here. Ah. Zhao Xinhui opened his mouth and looked at Qin Yuan in disbelief. He thought that Qin Yuan had made a mistake. Here? It couldn't be, right? What was he going to do? Wouldn't it be bad if someone saw us? Zhao Xinhui was a little unhappy. No matter what, it was more convenient to do it on the bed. What was the point of doing it here? Qin Yuan hugged Zhao Xinhui and coaxed her gently. Don't worry. This is the back of the house. He won't come here casually. Besides, we can go to the grass. No one will see what we're doing. Zhao Xinhui was a little confused. But Qin Yuan, the bed at home is obviously more comfortable. Why do we have to do it in the grass? There are so many people on the ground. It's not comfortable at all. Qin Yuan said, I think it's more exciting here. Why don't we try it here? Chapter 2263. After hearing Qin Yuan's explanation, Zhao Xinhui's face instantly flushed red. How could she do that? Zhao Xinhui was a little embarrassed to try. She was still a little worried that others would see them. Although she was quite thick-skinned, if someone saw them now, the entire village would know. What would others think of her then? He didn't know what kind of gossip would come out of it. Everyone didn't like to be counted by others. Qin Yuan said, I'm begging you. Just satisfy me this once. Let's give it a try. I'm begging you. Zhao Xinhui couldn't reject Qin Yuan too much. After all, Qin Yuan was different from before. She had to do well and firmly hold onto Qin Yuan's heart. Therefore, she could only grit her teeth and nod in agreement. All right, let's give it a try then. Qin Yuan's eyes were instantly tinged with excitement. Then he hugged Zhao Xinhui and impatiently started to move his hands. Zhao Xinhui nudged Qin Yuan and said, we agreed to go to the bushes. Don't do it here. Only then did Qin Yuan restrain himself. He first went to the bushes with Zhao Xinhui and then started to move his hands. Qin Yuan first took off Zhao Xinhui's outerwear and his own outerwear and placed them on the ground. This way, the two of them wouldn't be poked by the weeds on the ground and would feel more comfortable. When Zhao Xinhui was stripped down to her undergarment, her beautiful figure was exposed in front of Qin Yuan's eyes. When Qin Yuan saw this, he had the urge to have a nosebleed. Zhao Xinhui also glanced at Qin Yuan's chest. She reached out and caressed it. Then she urged Qin Yuan, "What are you still looking at? Hurry up and come." But Qin Yuan was no longer in a daze. He directly tore off Zhao Xinhui's undergarment and began to move on top of her happily. The surrounding vegetation was rustling because of the two of them. At this moment, in the front yard of Zhao Yun'er's house, because there were many people, the noise was very loud. Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan were at the back of the house. Even though Zhao Xinhui was moaning happily, the noise from the front yard still covered Zhao Xinhui's voice. No one noticed that a dirty thing was going on in the back room of Zhao Yun'er's house. After a while, Qin Yuan's forehead was dripping with sweat. Quite a few beads of sweat appeared. However, there was an indescribable thrill to having sex on the grass. Sure enough, his decision was not wrong. The feeling in the grass field was different from the feeling at home. Looks like I have to find a few more ways to play in the future to make this matter more interesting. However, the two of them were completely oblivious to the fact that someone was slowly walking towards them. Previously, Zhao Ping'er accompanied Ma Xiaofeng to find a quiet place to listen to Ma Xiaofeng talk. However, after a while, other people from the village came over. The originally quiet place became noisy again. Zhao Ping'er and Ma Xiaofeng had to move to the back room of Zhao Yun'er's house. Usually, no one came here, so it must be very quiet. The two of them could sit down and talk slowly. There was no need for them to move. Because of Zhao Tianan's marriage, Ma Xiaofeng was still immersed in grief and had not come back to her senses. Chapter 2264. Ma Xiaofeng rubbed her eyes and looked at Zhao Ping, feeling very touched. She said to Zhao Ping, "Big sister Ping, thank you so much. You've always been the only one who stood by my side without hesitation and helped me a lot. You're really my good friend." Zhao Ping was also touched when she heard that. "Little Feng, we've always been good friends. Is there still a need to say this?" Ma Xiaofeng replied with a heavy voice. In the past, she treated Zhao Ping a little more hypocritically. But now, she felt that there were not many people who treated her well in this world. Zhao Ping was one of the few people who treated her the best without asking for anything in return. It seemed like she had to treat Zhao Ping as her true friend in the future. Otherwise, she would be too heartless. "Little Feng, actually, I'm quite envious of you sometimes. Although you can't be together with Tianan, you're pretty. Even without Tianan, you can definitely find a better man," Zhao Ping said as she looked at Ma Xiaofeng's exquisite face with envy. Then she sighed regretfully and muttered, "If I were as pretty as you, then Big Brother Yuan would definitely not like my aunt. He would definitely like me and live a down-to-earth life with me. Thinking that I still have to share a man with my own aunt in the future. I feel very uncomfortable in my heart. Little Feng, you said that Big Brother Yuan was originally my husband. How can my aunt snatch a man from me? She's just relying on that foxy face of hers to seduce Big Brother Yuan on purpose, and Big Brother Yuan treats her so well. How can there still be a place for me in the future?" Looking at Zhao Ping's sad and helpless look, Ma Xiaofeng also felt some sympathy for Zhao Ping. "Big sister Ping, you can't change this matter either. It's still your aunt who's too shameless. You're Qin Yuan's first wife, and now she's sticking her foot in. Sigh, isn't that so? Little Feng, tell me, what should I do?" Zhao Ping's pleading gaze landed on Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng shook her head and sighed. "I don't know either. Big sister Ping, if I have a way, I'll definitely help you." Sigh. "Then there's no way. I can only wait for Big Brother Yuan to bring my aunt back." "Sister Ping, if only you can become beautiful and capture Qin Yuan's heart, maybe he won't be together with your aunt." Zhao Ping touched her own face. "If I'm beautiful, Big Brother Yuan won't have to look for my aunt. But Little Feng, look at my face. How can I become beautiful?" Ma Xiaofeng stared at Zhao Ping and said, "Actually, Big Sister Ping, your facial features aren't ugly. In fact, they're quite good-looking. Your figure is also quite good. It's curvy and better than the average person." Other than the birthmark on your face, there are also freckles. If you can remove these two things and your skin can be fairer, I think you'll be considered a beauty too. Zhao Ping said as if she was discouraged. It's just that the birthmark and freckles on my face can't be removed. It made everyone say that I'm ugly. Chapter 2265. When Zhao Ping heard Ma Xiaofeng's words, her eyes suddenly lit up. Xiaofeng, is what you said true? Can the birthmarks and freckles on my face really be removed? I don't know if they can be removed, but Sister Ping, you can ask a doctor first. Some doctors have good medical skills, or they have some folk prescriptions. Maybe they can remove the birthmarks and freckles on your face. You have to try to have a chance. If you don't try, how will you know? Zhao Ping felt that Ma Xiaofeng's words were very reasonable. In the past, she didn't have money. Even if she could remove the things on her face, she couldn't afford it. Now that she had money, she had such a good opportunity. Why shouldn't she try it first, as Ma Xiaofeng said? If she could remove the birthmarks and scars on her face, then wouldn't she become a great beauty? When she thought of Zhao Ping, she was a little excited. As long as she was good-looking, maybe Qin Yuan would change his mind. Xiaofeng, then I'll try it later. At most, I'll spend more money. Now, even if I don't spend money, my aunt will take the money later. It's better to spend it on myself. Zhao Ping thought it through and sighed with Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng held Zhao Pinger's hand and said, "Yes, Sister Ping, you really should think more about yourself." When the two of them were talking, Ma Xiaofeng suddenly heard a chaotic sound. It was a bit like a woman's moaning. Ma Xiaofeng made a shushing gesture. "Shu, Sister Ping, did you hear something?" Zhao Ping looked at Ma Xiaofeng curiously. "Sound? What sound?" "It's the sound of a man and a woman doing that," Ma Xiaofeng said with some embarrassment. After all, she was a girl, so she was embarrassed to talk about this kind of thing. "I don't think so," Zhao Ping muttered. Sister Ping, listen carefully. Zhao held her breath and stretched her ears to listen. Finally, she heard some sounds. Just as Ma Xiaofeng said, someone was doing that. Zhao Pinger's eyes immediately showed a touch of contempt, and Ma Xiaofeng said, "Xiaofeng, there is really someone who is shameless enough to do that." Ma Xiaofeng said, "Yeah, who would do such a shameless thing in broad daylight?" "Who knows? Xiaofeng, do you think someone is having an affair?" Zhao Pinger's eyes were filled with curiosity. Ma Xiaofeng nodded. "That's possible." "Xiaofeng, do you think the two of them are having sex in the bushes?" "It should be." Zhao Ping suddenly grabbed Ma Xiaofeng's hand and said to Ma Xiaofeng, "Xiaofeng, why don't we go and see who is so shameless in the village? If they are not on good terms with us, we can go to the front yard and make a scene. Then, everyone will come and see. That will be wonderful." Ma Xiaofeng was a little embarrassed as she moved her feet and asked resentfully, "Sister Ping, this isn't good, right?" What's not good about it?" "Let's go and see." Ma Xiaofeng blushed and said, "No, Sister Ping, if we look, we will definitely see their naked bodies. I don't think it's good." Chapter 2266. Because of Zhao Pinger's teasing, Ma Xiaofeng's face became even redder. Speaking of which, it wasn't that she hadn't seen a man's body, but it was Dr. Sun's. And Dr. Sun was an old man, so he was different from ordinary men. Ma Xiaofeng had never seen such a young and impetuous man before. Therefore, Zhao Pinger's words weren't entirely wrong. Zhao Pinger saw that Ma Xiaofeng was shy, so she patted Ma Xiaofeng's shoulder and said, "Xiaofeng, it's okay if you're embarrassed. I'll go alone. Anyway, I've seen it before, so there's no need to be embarrassed." Ma Xiaofeng was shy and a little curious at the same time. What did it look like for someone else to have sex in the grass? Would the scene be very exciting? If she didn't see it this time, she wouldn't have such an opportunity next time. After thinking about it, Ma Xiaofeng decided to go with Zhao Ping. Anyway, Zhao Ping was embarrassed, so what was there for her to be embarrassed about? Moreover, it was Zhao Ping who suggested it first. She was just an accompaniment. Sister Ping, I'll go with you. Ma Xiaofeng said weakly. Okay, let's go together. The two of them held hands and walked towards the grass together. The closer they got, the clearer the sounds were, and the ecstatic sounds made people's hearts feel a little numb. When they got closer, Zhao Ping frowned and noticed that something was wrong. She whispered to Ma Xiaofeng, something's not right, this sound is a little wrong. Sister Ping, what's wrong? Zhao Pinger's frown deepened, this sound is a bit like my aunt's. What, your aunt? Yes. No way. Ma Xiaofeng opened her mouth in surprise. If it were your aunt, who would she be doing this with now? Zhao Ping shook her head. I don't know. It could be my big brother Yuan or some other man. It would be better if it was another man. If Qin Yuan knew about this, he would definitely not forgive your aunt. Ma Xiaofeng said. She had seen through the situation. As a man, no matter how much he liked a woman, he would never allow this woman to cheat on him. Qin Yuan was a man with strong self-esteem. He would never forgive Zhao Xinhui for betraying him. Sigh, I'm just afraid that it's not some other man but Big Brother Yuan. Zhao Ping sighed. The two of them carefully parted the bushes and saw Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui naked. Zhao Xinhui seemed to be enjoying himself. Although she had more or less expected it, Zhao Ping still felt uncomfortable when she saw such a scene. Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan were in a state of oblivion. How would they know that they had already been discovered? Qin Yuan said to Zhao Xinhui, it's so exciting to do it here. It's so comfortable. Zhao Xinhui groaned a few times and replied to Qin Yuan with satisfaction, yes, it's so comfortable and exciting. Qin Yuan, you're really amazing. I used to think that you were quite ordinary and looked weak. I didn't expect you to be so amazing. I really underestimated you in the past. Qin Yuan smiled proudly and said, of course. How could I not be amazing? As the saying goes, you can't judge a book by its cover. If you don't try, you can't jump to conclusions easily. It's my fault. You're amazing. Good. Qin Yuan smiled proudly. Chapter 2267. Zhao Ping felt as if her heart had been pierced by something. It hurt so much. Because she loved Qin Yuan, she naturally didn't want to see Qin Yuan doing that kind of thing to another woman and even saying sweet nothings to her. This would make her understand that Qin Yuan only had Zhao Xinhui in his heart and not her. When Qin Yuan did this kind of thing with her in the past, he would keep his head down and never say a word. However, when facing Zhao Xinhui, he babbled so much. This meant that to Qin Yuan, doing that kind of thing with her was purely to satisfy his physical needs. However, with Zhao Xinhui, it was also a deeper way to express his love. Zhao Xinhui whined and said, Qin Yuan, are you comfortable? Qin Yuan answered without hesitation, comfortable, of course I'm comfortable. Let's do more of this kind of stimulation in the future, okay? Zhao Xinhui replied, okay, I really want to marry you immediately. Then we can do it day and night. I'm going to do it 10 times a day. I'm going to eat you up. As Qin Yuan said this, he lowered his head and bit Zhao Xinhui's chest hard. Zhao Xinhui gritted her teeth in pain and said, ouch, it hurts. Qin Yuan, what nonsense are you talking about? 10 times a day. It's not that you want to eat me up, I'm afraid that I'll squeeze you dry. Qin Yuan smiled wretchedly and said, how can that be? I have good stamina, so it won't happen. I can do it 10 times a day. If you can do it, then I can do it too. Okay, then we'll do it every day. Hearing Qin Yuan's words, Zhao Ping felt even more stifled. For the past few nights, when she slept with Qin Yuan, she wanted to do it. However, Qin Yuan said that he didn't have the energy to do it and didn't want to do it. However, now that he was in front of Zhao Xinhui, he gave a different explanation. To put it bluntly, it was because Qin Yuan didn't like her and didn't want to do it with her. Qin Yuan liked Zhao Xinhui, so he didn't want Zhao Xinhui enough. The wound in Zhao Ping's heart, which was stabbed by Qin Yuan, began to bleed. It was so painful that she couldn't breathe. Why is this happening? Qin Yuan was her husband. How could he treat her like this? Ma Xiaofeng saw the explosive scene in front of her and quickly retracted her gaze after a few glances. When she saw Zhao Ping's sad expression, she comforted her in a low voice. Sister Ping, don't look anymore. Let's go. Since you know that Qin Yuan doesn't like you, it's useless to be sad. Zhao Ping couldn't stay any longer, so the two of them left quietly. Ma Xiaofeng didn't know how to comfort Zhao Ping, when she saw how depressed she was. Actually, she could understand Qin Yuan's feelings. After all, Zhao Ping was so ugly, and men cared more about appearance. It was normal that he didn't like Zhao Ping. If Zhao Ping was a little prettier and looked as delicate and pretty as Zhao Xinhui, Qin Yuan wouldn't have done such a thing. Unfortunately, some things were predestined and couldn't be changed. Zhao Ping had a hard life, but she was helpless. She had experienced so many miserable things in the past. When she was young, she didn't have a good day. It wasn't easy for her to meet Zhao Tianan. Today, Zhao Tianan married another woman. At most, she and Zhao Ping were in the same boat. Both of them had a hard life. However, they couldn't blame anyone else. This was their fate, and they could only accept it. Chapter 2268. Zhao Ping took a while to recover from her shock. She cursed in a low voice, "My aunt is too shameless." She dragged Big Brother Yuan to have sex in the bushes in broad daylight. How can she be so thick-skinned? She doesn't know shame at all. No wonder she would even snatch her own niece's husband. After hearing Zhao Ping's words, Ma Xiaofeng's eyes moved. She then said to Zhao Ping, "Big Sister Ping, since they treated you so badly, why don't you not let them off so easily?" "Xiaofeng, what do you mean by that?" Ma Xiaofeng patiently explained to Zhao Ping, "Big Sister Ping, it's intolerable for your aunt to be together with her own niece's husband. If this matter were to be leaked out, everyone would scold your aunt to death. Due to the rumors, Qin Yuan and your aunt probably won't be able to be together. When that time comes, won't Qin Yuan belong to you alone?" The reason why Ma Xiaofeng said this was because she was calculating in her heart that if this matter were to be leaked out, Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui might be drowned in a pig cage. If Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui were to really be drowned in a pig cage, then wouldn't the restaurant in town belong to Zhao Ping and her now? Now, her share of the restaurant's profits was very small. Without Qin Yuan, with Zhao Ping's intelligence, she could slowly swindle more from Zhao Ping. Even if she wasn't drowned in a pig cage, as long as Qin Yuan wasn't together with Zhao Xinhui, it was still good for her. The only thing Ma Xiaofeng was afraid of now was that when Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan started to live together, they would slowly close the restaurant. At that time, they would definitely complain that she didn't pay much but got 10% of the restaurant's profits. If they took back even this 10% of the restaurant's profits, how could she live in the future? He didn't have much ability and couldn't earn much money. The only thing he could rely on now was this restaurant. Zhao Ping hesitated. She frowned and muttered, "Xiaofeng, is this really okay? Will I implicate Big Brother Yuan? When the time comes, you can just say that it was your aunt who seduced you and push all the blame to Qin Yuan." Zhao Ping thought about it carefully and felt that it was indeed possible. "Xiaofeng, that's fine, but how are we going to spread the news? Call people over and let them see Qin Yuan and your aunt having sex in the open. You don't need to say anything. Can't everyone see it?" "But Xiaofeng, we can't call people over. That's because Big Brother Yuan knows that I was the one who did it. He definitely won't forgive me in the future and will be angry with me. When the time comes, he definitely won't be with me anymore." Zhao Ping voiced the worry in her heart. Ma Xiaofeng patted Zhao Ping's shoulder and comforted Zhao Ping. "Big Sister Ping, don't worry. Leave this matter to me. I'll help you settle it. From now on, it has nothing to do with you. Even if Qin Yuan finds out, they will look for me and blame me. They won't blame you." Seeing Ma Xiaofeng being so righteous, Zhao Ping was touched for a moment. "Xiaofeng, you're so good to me." Ma Xiaofeng smiled. "Big Sister Ping, Don't be silly. You're my good friend. If I'm not good to you, who else can I be good to? Zhao Ping nodded heavily. Chapter 2269. Ma Xiaofeng's words immediately caused panic and restlessness among the villagers. There was a tiger in the village before. This tiger was not an ordinary animal. It was very fierce and it even ate people. If it was not dealt with properly, it would be a hidden danger. It could come to the village and make trouble at any time. If someone was hurt and lost their life, the situation would be serious and terrible. When people were anxious and panicked, they would not think so much. They did not think carefully about who shouted this sentence. Everyone was anxious about what to do when the tiger came. At this moment, all the people in the village gathered together. There was strength in numbers and they might be able to deal with the tiger. If they did not think of a way to deal with the tiger today, the whole village would be in a panic. Who would dare to continue to walk in the village? The villagers gathered together and discussed. This time, Lord Li Zheng also came to the banquet at Yu Erjia's place. The county magistrate was also present. Hearing that there was a tiger coming down the mountain and making trouble in the village, the county magistrate attached great importance to it. He was originally helping the people in Yang City to deal with these trivial matters. Now that the villagers were in danger, as a parent, he should stand out and help to think of a way to deal with it. The county magistrate first asked what was going on. The villagers briefly told the county magistrate about the tiger coming down the mountain. Because the tiger had already hurt people before, the county magistrate felt that they should treat it more seriously. After consideration, he decided to let the men in the village gather together and take hoes, ropes, and other tools to kill the tiger. In this way, they could get rid of all future troubles and avoid the risk of being attacked by the tiger in the future. Under the county magistrate's organization, everyone carried the hose, carrying poles, shovels, and ropes from Zhao Yun'er's house. The group of people gathered together and walked towards the back room of Zhao Yun'er's house. Zhao Ping frowned. She was a little worried when she saw this situation. She could not help but pull Ma Xiaofeng's sleeve and whispered in Ma Xiaofeng's ear, "Xiaofeng, will we make a big deal out of it?" Seeing Zhao Ping being so cautious, Ma Xiaofeng secretly cursed Zhao Ping for being so useless. However, she didn't want to hurt Zhao Ping's feelings, so she didn't say it out loud. Instead, she patiently explained to Zhao Ping, "It's better if you make a big fuss. If you don't make a big fuss, who will be able to see the Qin Yuan and your aunt's wedding? Only when everyone knows about it will your aunt be reviled and despised, and then she won't be able to be with Qin Yuan." Zhao Ping sighed and didn't say anything. Ma Xiaofeng patted Zhao Ping's shoulder and comforted her, "Well, Ping, don't think too much. Anyway, things have already come to this point. It's useless for you to worry. Let's follow them and see what the situation is like." Zhao Ping nodded, "Okay." The strong men in the village walked in front, and many curious women who wanted to join in the fun walked behind them. Originally, everyone was very scared. However, when there were more people, they felt that there was strength in numbers. Nothing serious should happen. When they walked to the back of Zhao Yun'er's house, they found that the grass was moving. Everyone thought that there was a tiger inside, so they carefully went over and wanted to catch the tiger. When they rushed over, they found that something was wrong. Chapter 2270. When the man exclaimed, the hearts of the people behind him could not help but tighten. They thought that something big had happened. Everyone took a step back in fear. If the tiger pounced on them, they would definitely die. After a while, they realized that something was wrong. The man in the lead said, This. A man behind him mustered up his courage and asked, "What exactly did you see?" "Someone is actually doing that in the grass in broad daylight." After the man said that, the people behind him immediately exploded. They thought that they had encountered a tiger, but in the end, they realized that they had bumped into someone else. At this moment, the big commotion also brought Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan back to their senses. Seeing that more and more people were swarming over, Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan asked anxiously, "Qin Yuan, why are there so many people suddenly here? What should we do?" Qin Yuan's mind was also a little blank. How could he know why so many people suddenly came here? With so many people here, wouldn't what he and Zhao Xinhui did be known by many people? The problem was that they could not hide now. With so many people here, where could they escape to? Zhao Xinhui continued to pat Qin Yuan. Qin Yuan, what should we do? Hurry up and think of a way. Sob, sob, sob. If others find out, how can I face others in the future? Qin Yuan tried hard to calm himself down. Then he hurriedly picked up the clothes on the ground and wrapped them around Zhao Xinhui's body so that Zhao Xinhui would not be discovered. Then he hurriedly took another set of clothes and covered his lower body. As soon as he was done, the two of them were surrounded by the villagers. Qin Yuan nervously protected Zhao Xinhui in his arms, afraid that Zhao Xinhui would be seen by other men. As a normal man, he naturally did not like his woman being seen by others. When the crowd saw Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan hugging each other in ragged clothes, they knew what had happened just now. For a moment, everyone started discussing. If we didn't come to the backyard to catch a tiger, who would have thought that these two people would actually do such a shameful thing in the grassland? That's right. Of all the places to settle it, why did you have to come here to disgust people? Isn't this Zhao Ping'er's man? How did she get together with Zhao Xinhui? One is the younger sister-in-law, and the other is the younger sister-in-law. If the two of them do such a thing, isn't that incest? Isn't this incest? These two people are too shameless. This is simply unheard of. If we hadn't seen it with our own eyes, who would have known that my aunt and niece-in-law would be able to pull off such a trick? He's simply fooling around. He's worse than a beast. He'll definitely be punished by the heavens. Ping-er is really a pitiful girl. Back then, when she was poor, she married into the Qin Yuan. Now that she has opened a restaurant and is rich, in the blink of an eye, she got together with her sister-in-law. Oh my God, how can there be such a person? It's fine if that man is not a good thing, but Zhao Xinhui is Zhao Ping'er's elder, right? An elder stole a younger generation's man. How shameless can she be? Haven't you heard? Zhao Xinhui is a vixen. She relies on her face to seduce men. Didn't she seduce a rich man's son before? He even took her back and made her a concubine. She lived a good life for a while. Chapter 2271. So Zhao Xinhui has taken a liking to Qin Yuan's wealth and wants him to take her to live a good life. That's why she deliberately seduced Qin Yuan and charmed him? Isn't that the same as openly snatching her niece's man? How can there be such a shameless woman in our village? She's a scourge. Fortunately, our man doesn't have much ability. Otherwise, he would definitely be targeted by her. At that time, she would also seduce him. What a shameless vixen. What kind of daughter did he raise in old Zhao's family? She treasures him all the time, but in the end, she's a shameless person. She's just a slut. She's so disgusting. The women were chattering and chattering away, and it was very lively. However, they scolded Zhao Xinhui badly and almost killed Zhao Xinhui. Although Zhao Xinhui was thick-skinned, she naturally felt uncomfortable being scolded by so many people. She looked at Qin Yuan pitifully, pulled Qin Yuan's hand, and asked in a low voice, "Qin Yuan, what should we do now? I don't want to hear these people gossip anymore. Hurry up and think of a solution." Qin Yuan sighed and said, I don't have a choice. There are too many people and they won't listen to me no matter what I say. Moreover, they won't listen to me when they decide on something." Zhao Xinhui's brows knitted together. She was angry and anxious, but there was nothing she could do. Because of this, more and more people came over to join in the fun. Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui stood on the spot anxiously and were scolded by these people. After a while, the deputy district magistrate and the village chief came over together and asked what was going on. Immediately, someone reported to the deputy district magistrate, "Sir, we came to catch the tiger and saw something strange in the bushes. We thought the tiger was inside. Who knew that after we rushed in, we found that it wasn't the case. It was a man and a woman who were having an affair inside." After listening to the report, the county deputy immediately frowned and looked very unhappy. This kind of thing was indeed immoral. Although it was normal for men and women to have sex, it was fine if they did it at home, but to run out into the bushes and make it known to everyone, it was really not good. This would only spread the obscenity of the entire society. At this time, someone immediately added, "Deputy County Magistrate, these two people not only did indecent things, but also committed incest. One is her sister-in-law, and the other is her niece's son-in-law. Do you think two people with such status can mess around here?" After hearing this, the county deputy's face darkened immediately. His displeased gaze fell on Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui, who were in the grass. Needless to say, this kind of thing was indeed incestuous, and the heavens would not tolerate it. If these two people were to be indulged, wouldn't society be corrupted by them in the future? The people around were discussing secretly. Since the deputy county magistrate was angry, it was estimated that Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan would not have a good time. If they were really to be held accountable, the two of them would be drowned in a pig's cage. Someone wanted to see a vixen like Zhao Xinhui be punished, so he deliberately raised his voice and muttered, "This kind of incestuous person must be punished properly. Otherwise, who knows if it will affect the other people in the village in the future?" You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.